Chapter 498. Strange Xiao Yunduan felt much calmer. They returned to the room and heard laughter. Everyone in there believed that Xiao Dalong would be able to recover completely, thus feeling relaxed. Seeing the scene, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan felt even worse. They just could not imagine what the family would be like if elder brother's leg never healed. Especially Ms. Fong and Ms. Su. Xiao Yunduan put on a relatively cheerful face and said, "Elder brother, what on earth happened today? Do you still remember?" Everyone fell silent and turned to Xiao Dalong. Ms. Fong asked with her teeth clenched. "Yes, tell me. What happened? Such a thing should not have occurred." The part of the canal that Xiao Dalong was working on was not on a high place. How could a stone hit him so badly? Xiao Dalong smiled bitterly. "I wasn't paying attention. Ding Jinfa and Ding Jinkai were carrying a huge rock as they passed by the hill and got tripped. Then, the rock rolled down along the hill and I failed to dodge it." Ms. Fong felt so annoyed. "That is all?" "Yeah, that's it." "Damn it." Ms. Fong clenched her teeth. "They hurt you and they have said nothing to us? This is not done." Ms. Su agreed. Xiao Yunduan said, "Let's wait until tomorrow to see what they will do." It was an accident. But Xiao Dalong was unlucky enough to have run into the Acclusi 11L. They all became less cheerful than before. Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao made dinner and they found the day had turned dark and everyone was starving. "Let's eat first." Ms. Fong smiled. "Sanlang, take the food to your elder brother first and you can eat later." "Okay, Mom." Ms. Su smiled. "Mom, let me do that. I am capable of such small things." Qiao Xian smiled too. "Yeah, Mom. Let the elder sister-in-law eat with the elder brother. They can keep each other company." "That sounds great," Ms. Su added. Ms. Fong did not oppose it. She smiled and nodded in agreement. Xiao Sanlang was a foodie, but he could take the food to his elder brother before he himself ate. Qiao Xian admired their brotherhood. There was no news overnight. The next day, Xiao Yunduan left before the dawn broke. He was going to ask about doctors in the province. Xiao Yunduan did not tell Ms. Fong and eldest uncle about this until this morning. It was Qiao Xian who mentioned it. They all cheered. "That is great. Dalong will be healed soon." Ms. Su was so moved as she turned to Qiao Xian. "Fifth sister-in-law, thank you all." Qiao Xian smiled. "Don't mention it, elder sister-in-law. We are a family." Due to what happened to Xiao Dalong, they did not go into the mountains to cut the creeping figure. Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Xiaoqi were busy taking care of Xiao Dalong. Qiao Xian asked Tao Tao to keep her company to drive to the Zhang village and to deliver the creeping figs which they had cut the day before, so Dinger Zhu and the others could plant them after a few days. Second uncle and third uncle came to check on the situation early the next day. Seeing Ms. Fong in a good mood, they heard Ms. Fong telling them that Xiao Dalong would recover after a few days. They all nodded cheerfully and showed some care before leaving. Chapter 499. Apology. The news that Xiao Dalong would not limp was spread across the whole village. Only then did Ding Jinkai and his brother, together with their parents, came to the Xiao family to apologize, with lowered heads. Ms. Fong, Ms. Su and Ms. Qiao were really displeased, especially Ms. Fong and Ms. Su. They should have come to apologize the day before. But they simply rushed home after causing the accident, and Xiao Dalong was not even carried back by them. They came to apologize only after they heard that Dalong was getting better. Ms. Fong sneered. "What a rare thing that you remember to drop by today. I thought you chose to forget about it." Ms. Su was always quiet, but she added ironically this time, "I thought they would have been here yesterday." The two brothers of the Ding family and their parents looked very embarrassed. Ding Jinkai's mother forced a smile. "Apologies, they were too scared to face the matter. Both of us were furious with them. We scolded and beat them yesterday. But it was too late to visit you, so we come this morning. It is their fault, but please don't be mad." Ms. Fong found the behavior to be disgusting. But she snorted coldly, without saying anything more. Eldest uncle coughed. "It was an accident. No one wanted it to happen. Dalong is doing well and you have already apologized to us, so..." Ms. Fong cut in. "So that is it? Luckily, my son is fortunate and strong. But when are you going to pay us the medical fees?" Ding Jinkai and his brother, as well as parents, were startled. Medical fees? Yeah. Ms. Fong said, my son can't just both suffer physically and spend money too. Ding Jinkai mumbled. But we have no money. And you are so rich. His parents were silent but they showed the same expression. Ms. Fong got annoyed and snapped. You made a mistake, and you don't even pay for the medical fees? It doesn't matter if we are rich or not. They did not do that on purpose. Xiao Xian smiled. Then if someone does not do that on purpose, they can also just offer an apology and leave? Yeah, how can that be so easy and simple? Ms. Fong threw a look at them. You pay half, okay? The Ding family exchanged a look between themselves, at a loss of words. They did not do it deliberately. But Xiao Dalong did get injured because of them. The Xiao family was already kind enough to let them pay half of the medical fees. There was nothing they could do, if they forced them to pay the full bill. Okay, then. Jinkai's father sighed, smiling bitterly. My son's made a mistake, and we will cover the fees. Ms. Fong looked less annoyed and added. You can pay us 2 liang first. I am not overcharging you. Those are real costs. Else, you can ask Manager Qin at Mingren Tang in the town about it. They believed what she said but they could not accept it. Jinkai's parents tried to look poor and pleaded with Ms. Fong and eldest uncle about cutting the fees, which was turned down by Ms. Fong. She did not care about the exact amount. She just did not like how it happened. Chapter 500. Decision. Her son met an unexpected accident and she was already so annoyed and concerned. She spared some part of the fees for them and they still tried to bargain? Finally, it was Ding Jinkai who agreed suddenly. His parents were so anxious. But he nodded too fast and Ms. Fong accepted it quickly enough for his parents to be unable to turn the table. So they had no choice but to go and fetch the money. Land Officer Ding came to visit them too. He even asked Xiao Dalong to get well and not worry about having to work for the repair of the canal anymore. That made Ms. Fong and the whole family annoyed. Xiao Dalong got injured because of the canal repair work. Although they did need the canal themselves, it was a project organized by the whole village. The village should pay some respect for Xiao Dalong's injuries. Land Officer Ding did not even show up earlier. He just asked his wife to come and check it out, showing a little concern and saying that they did not need to get involved with the labor for the canal repair any longer, as if the Xiao family was taking advantage of him. He was the land officer, and he was not related to the project directly. Ms. Fong and the family could not do anything about it. So they dropped it. Xiao Xian still decided to do something about it. I know some acupuncture. Mom, elder brother and elder sister-in-law, if you trust me, I can do something so that you can be relieved from pain. Xiao Dalong's wound was hurting terribly and he could not stand the pain as he groaned. That was when Xiao Xian mentioned this. The external wounds were causing him so much pain, despite the anti-inflammatory drugs. Xiao Dalong had never felt so much pain before. His head was turning dizzy and his eyes were blurry. He felt that even breathing was agony for him. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, he replied quickly. Please, fifth sister-in-law, thank you. Xiao Dalong sounded very determined, and both Ms. Fong and Ms. Su were startled. Ms. Fong glanced at Xiao Xian, nodding. Ms. Xiao, do it. Ms. Su was worried that Xiao Xian was just putting on a show. She wanted to intervene but then stopped herself. The fifth sister-in-law was just being kind. Moreover, she could not object when her mother-in-law and husband both approved of the suggestion. Fifth sister-in-law, just be careful. Don't force yourself. You are not a doctor and if you fail, it is okay. What she meant was that if she could not do anything to make her husband feel better, she could just drop it directly. Xiao Xian knew that Ms. Su was worried about her husband, so even though she didn't speak nice words, Xiao Xian did not say anything about it but smiled. Xiao Xian had bought 3 silver needles from the province after the last incident. So, she managed to put on a proper show this time with them. Acupuncture was just an act. She was actually injecting superpower into Xiao Dalong's body, and was trying to heal his wound from inside. Ms. Fong and Ms. Su knew nothing. They were easily fooled. But she could not make Xiao Dalong recover instantly. After all, he was injured very badly. Hence, Xiao Xian concentrated her superpower on the broken bones. Gradually, he would turn better and others would link it to using good medicine and resting well, rather than suspect the strangeness of his recovery. As the superpower went into his body and caressed the pain, Xiao Dalong suddenly felt relief. He became far more relaxed. Chapter 501. The second one, seeing the change in his expression, both Ms. Fong and Ms. Su became happy. It works. That is great, Ms. Chow. Take it slow. Thank you so much, fifth sister-in-law. Chao Xian stopped after about 15 minutes. She wiped the sweat on her forehead, smiling. This is all for today. Elder brother needs a break. Xiao Dalong smiled and nodded. Thanks, fifth sister-in-law. The following day, Chao Xian conducted the treatment again on Xiao Dalong, who started to feel hungry after the treatment. Everyone from the first section of the family got really happy. Chao Xian let out a sigh of relief. It was good that her superpower worked. Elder brother's leg was definitely going to be fine. What Manager Qin had said would not happen. By the evening of the third day, Xiao Yunduan came back with a doctor and his disciple, accompanied by Chu Shan. They had managed to get a famous doctor from the province, and they all received the person politely. This Dr. Dong was an expert in trauma orthopedics. He was well known and used to being praised by others, so he naturally had a bit of a temper. But Dr. Dong was very friendly when he came to the first section of the family. Young Master Xie and young Master Yuezheng had both informed him about this, and he, for the sake of those two important figures, restrained his arrogance. Dr. Dong hurried to this place to check up Xiao Dalong, knowing that they were in a hurry. He smiled after checking his injuries. Don't worry, I will write a prescription and leave a portion of ointment and plaster. He should take it orally and apply it externally. You must carefully clean the wound with water every morning and night, and keep the wound clean. Also, don't let him get injured again. He should lie down and rest well. After 10 days or so, he can go down to the ground and ask someone to help him walk a few steps slowly. After 2 or 3 months of proper care, he will basically recover. However, it is best not to do heavy work for half a year. That was almost the same as what Manager Qin said. It made Ms. Fong feel very relieved. She constantly expressed her gratitude. Xiao Yunduan got really surprised inwardly since he was one of the 2 people who had heard the truth. Manager Qin had not said the same thing. Manager Qin would never have lied to him, and he should not be less capable than Dr. Dong. Xiao Yunduan sounded skeptical. For real? Dr. Dong turned a little displeased when he was doubted by someone. He was used to being trusted implicitly. But he nodded and said calmly instead of showing any displeasure. Yes. I have been working as a doctor for years and I will never make such a simple mistake. This was just an external wound. He could not stand it when he was not trusted. Xiao Yunduan suddenly realized that he had said something improper. He apologized. Sorry, Dr. Dong, I am not doubting you. It is just that I feel very worried. Thanks for your efforts, Dr. Dong. Dr. Dong relaxed after hearing his words. True, young master was just so worried about his elder brother that he could not believe what had happened. They had a great brotherhood. Dr. Dong ignored the mistake and consoled him. Don't worry, I can definitely help him recover. It was getting late. Dr. Dong and his disciple spent the night at the first section of the family. Seeing that the situation was getting better, Chao Xian went to cook food with Tao Tao and Qi helping her. They soon had 3 dishes ready. There was stir-fried smoked meat with garlic sprouts, steamed sausage, fried winter bamboo shoots, spinach and egg soup for Dr. Dong and his disciple. Chapter 502. Relief. The smell of smoked meat and sausages was fragrant, the winter bamboo shoots were delicious and tender, and the hot spinach and egg soup made people warm and comfortable. The food made them, who had been driving the whole day, feel so refreshed. They could not help but develop good feelings towards the Xiao family. The meal just eased them up. Back in the room, Xiao Yunduan smiled and said that they could really be relieved after listening to the doctor's words. Xiao Yunduan could not understand the truth and Chao Xian found it funny. She was not confused at all but still tried to cover it up. She explained. It is said that there is a specialization in surgery. Dr. Dong is good at treating trauma, so it is not surprising that he can diagnose more accurately than Manager Qin. Furthermore, the elder brother had just been injured on the day when Manager Qin came, so the doctor's diagnosis might not be so accurate at that time. After all, no one knows how well the elder brother's body can heal. Now it seems that it has something to do with the elder brother's physique. Perhaps the eldest brother himself tends to recover easily. Xiao Yunduan thought what Xiao Xian said made sense. But something seemed amiss after pondering over it. He might have overthought about this. Thankfully, it was all good now. Xiao Yunduan slightly relaxed and nodded with a smile. You are right, darling. Dr. Dong and his disciple left early the next morning, since the patient's situation wasn't urgent. Xiao Xian conducted 2 more days of acupuncture, and after the medication from the new doctor, Xiao Dalong felt much better. His wounds still ached, and there was inflammation, but the pain did not cause him too much discomfort. It was bearable. Xiao Dalong was so grateful and kept thanking Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Oh yes, fifth sister-in-law, I can just stay here and rest. You can do whatever you want. Don't bother about me. I am sorry that I can't help you now. That is okay. Xiao Yunduan smiled. We can take it slow with our work. Elder brother. Just focus on your recovery. Seeing that Xiao Dalong was doing well, Xiao Xian and the others went into the mountains to cut the creeping figs. Xiao Xian did not allow Xiao Yunduan to tag along. He was not needed for the remaining work. It should turn out well. Xiao Xian and Xiao Sanlang, Yang Xiaoni, Tao Tao and Qi spent 3 days gathering enough creeping figs. Then, their work would be sorting flower fields, digging the soil and removing weeds. They hired Xiao Dali and a few others from the village for help, together with Yang Xiaoni, Qi and Tao Tao who supervised the work. They only hired people with sealed lips. The hired workers saw a house inside the flower field and got curious, but they stopped prying when Tao Tao said that it was a place for them to take a break and appreciate flowers. No one saw the whole set of tools of lipsticks inside, thus saying nothing. The whole village soon learned about the hiring. Xiao Xian hired 3 families including Xiao Dali, who were paid 30 won each. It was a great deal. Everyone in the village got really jealous about it. The second and third section of the family were furious. But they thought of how they owed them the free labor. They gave up making a fuss since they did not want to work for the first section of the family for no payment. Moreover, Miss Fong was not in a good mood these days due to Xiao Dalong's accident. So, the other sections of the family did not dare to cause any trouble. Chapter 503. A Story MS. Zhang still tried to make a fuss, sneering in front of Ms. Yen. Aren't you visiting the first section of the family every day and sucking up to them? I thought they were nice to you. But look, you are nothing in their eyes. Ms. Yen chuckled. I'm not sure what you mean, second sister-in-law. They treat me nicely. We are relatives, but I never thought about getting any benefits from them. So, you are worrying unnecessarily. Ms. Zhang snorted, sounding disdainful. She believed that it was Ms. Yen who didn't want to admit it. Ms. Yen did not want to argue with Ms. Zhang over this point. She had no interest in explaining it any further to Ms. Zhang. She did not care what Ms. Zhang thought about her relationship with the first section of the family. It was none of her business anyway. Ms. Yen still visited the first section of the family every day. Sometimes the visit was a little longer, sometimes a little shorter. But she was always there. The cutting of the creeping figs was completed within 2 days. Xiao Xian went to visit the Zhang village again. Accompanied by Dinger Zhu and his wife, they went to survey the field of the creeping figs as well as the tea forest. She claimed that she wanted to see how the creeping figs and the trees were growing whilst in fact, she was trying to put her superpower into the plants. Otherwise, the trees were withering and the creeping figs might not survive. Xiao Xian pretended to be tired and took a break, during which time, she silently exerted her superpower, bringing vitality to the plants. Xiao Xian could sense that the trees that had been running out of water were already growing back at a very high speed. The creeping figs had full buds and found roots underground. That made Xiao Xian feel assured. She was going to exert one more burst of her superpower, so the plants should grow better. Back at home, she ran into Ms. Yen, Ms. Fong and Ms. Su having a nice conversation. Xiao Xian walked in and greeted them, as she turned to the backyard to wash hands. Fifth sister-in-law. Ms. Yen followed up. Xiao Xian looked up at her, smiling. Hi, second sister-in-law. Ms. Yen looked hesitant, but she lowered her voice. I need to tell you something. Xiao Xian was surprised. Ms. Yen was a cautious person. She must have been bothered by something when she hesitated with her words. Come to my place. Xian led Ms. Yen to the east wing of her yard. Ms. Yen let out a big sigh as if she were making a big decision. She said to Xian in a low voice, "I bumped into Land Officer Ding and Widow Sun talking in the bamboo forest near Widow Sun's garden. I was close by, but they did not notice me." Ms. Yen happened to be in the neighborhood area near Widow Sun's home yesterday afternoon, when she was picking vegetables. Ms. Yen saw some winter bamboos in the forest, thus hoping to try some luck. Unexpectedly, her luck wasn't with her. She did not find the winter bamboos, but accidentally ran into the affairs of Land Officer Ding and Widow Sunday. Ms. Yen got so frightened. But the thick, tall bush in the forest sheltered her. She collapsed and her hands covered her chest tightly, holding back her breath. She was a newcomer to the village. She should not reveal this to anyone else, even if she saw that. Chapter 504. No evidence. She would find herself in trouble if she spilled the beans to anyone. But she overheard their conversation. They were talking about Xiao Dalong's injuries. It was not an accident. Land Officer Ding made this happen just to flatter Widow Sunday. Widow Sun kept cursing the first section of the Xiao family, especially Ms. Fong, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. She cursed at them so fiercely as if they were her worst enemies. Widow Sun kept blaming the land officer for not being able to do this well. She said that he should have ruined Xiao Dalong's legs, rather than leave him any chance to recover. Widow Sun hated them so deeply. She wanted to take revenge upon Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, but she had no chance with one of them being the cultivated talent and the other the daughter of the county magistrate. She did not dare to offend them after all. But she did not want the first section of the family to have a good time. So, she had eyes upon the most down-to-earth man in the family, Xiao Dalong. As long as everything turned messy in the first section of the Xiao family, she would be really pleased. When she heard that Xiao Dalong had been hit on the legs and passed out, and that his legs might get ruined, Widow Sun felt so pleased. But soon the pleasure was gone after one day. Hence, she became really furious. Seeing Land Officer Ding, she started to complain. Land Officer Ding had intended to visit her the day before, but she did not open the door. Still, he caught her when she came to the vegetable garden today by pretending as if he were passing by, after seeing that no one was around. Ms. Yen accidentally ran into this conversation. Ms. Yen did not even have the strength to get up until they two left. She wondered what on earth was the grudge between Widow Sun and the first section of the family that she hated them so much. She wondered if she should reveal this secret. If she kept the secret, she would feel very uncomfortable in heart, but if she told the first section of the family about it, she would be doing them a huge favor, which she did not want to waste so easily. She had no evidence. Nor did she want to get involved with this thing. She was a newcomer, and if she was involved, her reputation might be ruined. After thinking for a long while, Ms. Yen finally decided to tell Xiao Xian about it first. She believed that Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were calm people who would know what to do with this matter properly. If she told this to Ms. Fong and Ms. Su, Ms. Yen would not be able to imagine what might happen. Xiao Xian was shocked. Are you sure, second sister-in-law? For real? Widow Sun had never had a good reputation, and Xiao Xian heard some gossip about her too. But Xiao Xian never believed those groundless rumors. Widows were always the topic of gossip for some people. But Widow Sun was over the top. Ms. Yen felt relieved after telling her. She nodded. I am not mistaken. I saw through the cracks. It was them. Xiao Xian, she felt fury arising inside her heart. That is disgusting. Fifth sister-in-law, please calm down. Ms. Yen felt her heart throbbing. Fifth sister-in-law, should you speak with fifth brother about this first? Don't tell eldest aunt right now. She might rush into Widow Sun and the land officers' homes to make a fuss about it. If that happened, things would get worse. Xiao Xian took a deep breath. Second sister-in-law, don't worry. I will talk about this with my husband first, and we will never tell anyone else, including Mom, about it. We have no evidence at the moment, after all. Chapter 505. Revenge. Also, I will never mention your name, either. Ms. Yen let out a sigh of relief, but felt her legs getting weak. She said gratefully, Thanks, fifth sister-in-law, for your kindness. Xiao Xian smiled. I should thank you for telling me this. Ms. Yen did not have to get involved in this. If she kept this to herself, No one would know about it ever. Ms. Yen smiled. I would feel uneasy in my heart if I kept it to myself. That was true. Xiao Xian asked a few more questions about this, and Ms. Yen gave her as many details as she could. Then, she left when there was nothing else to share. The moment she left, Xiao Xian went to Xiao Yunduan. She needed to tell Xiao Yunduan about this as early as possible. Xiao Yunduan got so furious that he struck his hand hard on the table, looking lethal and cold. Xiao Xian's heart throbbed. She shivered. She had never seen Xiao Yunduan getting angry like this. Even on the wedding night when she almost killed herself, he had not been this angry. You! She tugged Xiao Yunduan's sleeves with some hesitation. Darling, don't be too angry. Elder brother is getting better, right? Anyways, what do you intend to do about it? Xiao Yunduan was not going to let it go so easily. Xiao Xian could tell that from his expressions. Unfortunately, there was no evidence, and the land officer as well as the widow were two special status people, very difficult to deal with. Xiao Yunduan calmed himself down and turned to look at Xiao Xian gently. I have my own thoughts about this. You should pretend as if you never heard about this. Be sure not to tell Mom and elder sister-in-law. He did not want this to spoil her ears. Mom was impulsive and she should not learn about this. The elder sister-in-law was pregnant and she must be kept away from this as well. He should be the one who should take revenge. Seeing Xiao Yunduan's look, Xiao Xian understood that her husband planned to do it in secret. After all, there was no open method that could be used for revenge. But you should be careful not to get involved. He had a promising future, and he should not bet on it. If lost, he might lose big. Xiao Yunduan nodded gently. I know my limit. Don't worry. Xiao Xian smiled but again asked in confusion. Do we have any grudge with Widow's son for her to do something like this? What made her so angry that Widow's son would combine forces with the land officer to set up her family? Xiao Dalong was the victim this time. What about next time? If she dared to do that once, what would stop her from doing it again? The threat should be removed, or they will never have a peaceful life. Xiao Xian did not think that the grudge would have originated from the time when she argued with her along with mother-in-law, a while back. Villagers always had disputes with each other, and they would still talk normally after a few quarrels. They even hung out normally. Nobody became each other's worst enemy. Xiao Yunduan had been studying at the college in the town and was devoted to examinations. He knew nothing. Hearing her question, he got confused too. Xiao Xian said, I can ask Mom or elder sister-in-law about this implicitly. Maybe the elder sister-in-law knows something. Xiao Yunduan thought for a while and nodded in agreement. He was curious too. Don't rush into it. Ask when you have the chance, otherwise they might sense something to be amiss. Xiao Xian chuckled. I know. I am good at it. Chapter 506. For his elder brother. When Ms. Yen visited them again, Xiao Xian greeted her happily as if nothing had happened. That made Ms. Yen feel less worried. She knew that Xiao Xian had lived up to her promise. Xiao Xian started to sort out one moo in the garden for cultivating tea tree buds. When the land was sorted well, the tea seeds could be buried. With the help of her superpower, she could make the transplantation happen by early April. At that time, the tea trees would grow to a certain height. They would be trimmed in autumn, and harvested for the next year. She could also put some superpower into the tea tree buds and the creeping fig so they could grow faster and better. No one had any prior knowledge about it, so even if it grew fast, people might assume that it should be like this. Then, she would work on mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus. This batch of white fungus grew quite a lot. The snow-white fungus once bloomed like clouds and flowers. They were thick and beautiful. They were carefully picked one by one and spread out in a dustpan to dry. Xiao Xian told Xiao Yunduan that when the mushrooms and snow fungus were sun-dried, they would visit the province to buy some laborers as well as lotus root, water chestnuts and so on to plant in the pond. Xiao Yunduan nodded in agreement. Hearing about Widow Sun and Land Officer Ding's conspiracy, Xiao Yunduan went out every night. He even asked Xiao Xian to sleep first instead of waiting for him to return. Xiao Xian had no idea what was going on, but by the third night, Xiao Xian understood the situation. He was watching over at Widow Sun's door. He was doing everything he could for his elder brother. Xiao Xian was surprised, but found his behavior reasonable too. Catching them on the spot was the only method. If his plan was to catch them red-handed, the best method was to be the most patient hunter who guarded their prey until they came to the trap. He did not want her to know about his plan, but Xiao did not ask him either. They both knew what was happening. Xiao Yunduan was not in a hurry. He guarded the place for 7 days in a row until he finally, on the 8th night, saw Land Officer Ting sneaking into Widow Sun's yard. Xiao Yunduan waited and did not leave until half an hour later. Suddenly, fire broke out in Widow Sun's home that night, and almost half of the village went to help put out the fire. Land Officer Ting got so anxious that he wanted to leave directly, but the windows and doors were all shut from outside, and he could not leave at all. So everyone who came to help put out the fire got shocked seeing Land Officer Ting sneaking out of Widow Sun's room. What was going on? They understood immediately that Land Officer Ting was not in Widow Sun's room for a friendly chat. They were doing something indecent. Land Officer Ting realized that he had been set up and became furious. He wished that he could disappear from there out of shame, when everyone was teasing him. He knew that he was done this time. Luckily, his wife and 2 sons were not here to put out the fire, otherwise he would be so humiliated. Widow Sun was shocked too. She flushed deeply but soon, she understood what she should do. She took hold of Land Officer Ting suddenly and glanced at the crowd. I am remarrying Brother Ting as his concubine. We are not doing anything wrong. Chapter 507. Concubine. The Land Officer was startled, but recovered quickly. Yeah, that is true. Then, why not share it earlier and instead do it on the sly? But for the fire tonight, you would not have said this to us. True. It is a terrible excuse. You think we are all fools? Shame on you. We are not going to have such a shameless Land Officer here. True. All of those who countered the Land Officer had the family name of Xiao. Those surnamed Ting understood what was going on, and thus did not help the Land Officer. Widow Sun did not care. She kept arguing with the others, saying that she was the Land Officer's concubine. So, they were not wrong in their conduct. In the end, when this news was spread to the clan, they both retreated. Land Officer quit his position as the Land Officer, whilst it was time for someone with a family name of Xiao to take over the position. The clan did not go any further with this. Also from that moment on, Widow Sun became Ting Jianghu. The former Land Officer's concubine. Widow Sun let out a sigh of relief, and gave in. She was just defending herself. It did not depend on her whether she became the concubine. It was not announced, so she could not be counted as one, no matter what. When Ting Jianghu went out of her house deep at night, it was already a very bad situation. She was very afraid that Ting Jianghu would blame her for this affair, saying that she seduced him, when they were caught on the spot. It was a big problem. So, she came up with the idea of dragging him down. A concubine was the last choice, but they could at least survive in this way. The Land Officer had some feelings towards her, and if she could work on him well, she would lead a good life. As for those with a family name of Xiao, they had never liked Land Officer Ting in the first place since he always favored those surnamed Ting. So they took this chance to push him down. They were in the same village and they could not drive away the entire Ting clan. Hence, they forced him to give up the position of Land Officer and have someone with the family name of Xiao take it up. In this way, the whole thing was over. Also, they promised not to spread the rumor. The Ting families let out a sigh of relief. If the news was spread, not only the Land Officer himself, but everyone with the family name of Ting would be humiliated. A Land Officer slept with the wife of a distant cousin. That sounded ridiculous. Although they could not completely stop it from spreading, it was enough when the rumor was limited within a certain range. There was nothing more they could do about it. After all, many people witnessed the scene the other night. Soon, a new Land Officer was elected from the Xiao families, namely the second grandpa of Xiao, Xiao Dalla's father. He was always just and fair, a highly respected, elderly man in the village. So, he made for a very convincing Land Officer. Xiao Yunduan, who actually overturned the table, was never found out except by Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian guessed that it was her husband who did it. But she needed to verify this after being driven by curiosity. She asked Xiao Yunduan carefully that same night. You did it, didn't you? Xiao Yunduan laughed, seeing her careful look. He turned to her and nodded with a look of profoundness. Yeah. Xianxia felt satisfied and smiled. Well done. Thanks for your help, darling. Xiao Yunduan smiled. This is what I should do. And, he added, if anyone gives you a hard time, I will defend you and take revenge for you as well. Chapter 508. A huge trap. Xianxia was startled, and then felt warm by his words. She chuckled and nodded. She suddenly thought that he could be a scholar who would be imposing and brimming with unique ideas. On the other hand, it was a very lively scene at Ding Jihea's home. Since Widow's son became Ding Jihea's concubine, she was not allowed to live outside with Ding Qingqing, her daughter. Widow's son tried to keep things the way they were, saying that she and her daughter could live in their old house. But Ding Jihea's wife, Miss Qiu, did not want this to happen. She wondered when this bitch seduced her husband and forced herself to become his concubine, costing her husband's position as land officer, and causing her to be laughed at by the whole village. So, she was not going to let this bitch do whatever she wanted. Miss Qiu said, "You are my husband's concubine, so you have to move in with us, in case someone spreads a rumor about you being mistreated. We can't afford to have our reputation ruined, and you can't let others talk, right?" When this was said, Ding Jiahao started to hesitate, even though Widow's son had whispered so many things into his ears. If she lived alone outside, she might hook up with someone else, and that would be a huge humiliation for him. Widow's son had to bite the bullet, and she moved into Ding Jihea's home, after being stared at by the whole Ding family. Miss Qiu took her 2 sons and 2 daughter-in-laws to help her move, and they scraped away every worthy penny from her. Widow's son wanted to make a fuss about it, but Miss Qiu sneered. "You are just a concubine and you have no rights to counter me. Are you trying to set up rules for yourself? You are under my charge, and everything of yours is mine." Miss Qiu's son and daughter-in-law had terrible expressions on their faces. Widow's son felt so annoyed but did not dare to counter her. She was Ding Jihea's concubine, and Miss Qiu could do whatever she wanted with her, like how mother-in-law did. Her mother-in-law would try to keep the reputation when dealing with her daughter-in-law, but when the wife was dealing with a concubine, she could even get her killed. Widow's son felt so miserable. Only now did she realize what her clever trick had cost her. A big trap it was. But if she did not jump into the trap, she might have been ruined by Ding Jiahao. They had hooked up because both of them felt like it, and they were in deep love when they had no conflict of interest. But when their interests clashed, they would understand exactly what they ought to do individually. Unfortunately, she had no other choice. She also knew that Miss Qiu was angry, and that her sons and daughters-in-law must hate her. So Widow's son had no choice but to tolerate Miss Qiu's torment. As for Ding Qingqing, she moved into Ding Jihea's home as well and called Miss Qiu as the mother, and addressed Widow's son as Auntie Mother. She would be lectured if addressing her wrongly, and so would Widow's Sunday. Ding Qingqing had been so shocked by what had happened, and was uneasy every single day after that. Widow's son had not expected her daughter to suffer, though she herself suffered from Miss Qiu's torment. But when she tried to defend Ding Qingqing, Miss Qiu sneered. "Don't you dare forget who will have the say about this girl's marriage eventually." That threw Widow's son deep into the bottom of the valley, and they did not dare to say one thing. She even privately told Ding Qingqing to work hard, so that Miss Qiu would not be pissed. This incident would become a fun topic in town, let alone in the village where people craved gossip as entertainment in the days to come. Chapter 509. Scary. Everyone was watching Ding Jihea's family and the show between Widow's son and Miss Qiu, which was spread across the whole village and had become a good pastime between teas and meals. Yang Xiaoni was always out to hear gossip, so the first section of the family learned about the matter as well. Xiao Xian felt so happy to hear about the bad experience of Widow Sunday. She deserved to be punished by someone like Miss Qiu. As for how it was for Ding Qingqing, well, she was suffering because of what her mother did, and no one was going to offer any help. So, one should be moral and have conscience. Otherwise the punishment would come on either her or her children, and nobody would feel sorry for that. Ms. Yan was almost sure that what happened between Widow's son and Ding Jiahao might have something to do with Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. But she did not dare ask a thing. She subconsciously started to respect and feel scared of Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. That was a scary couple. She made up her mind never to offend them or the first section of the family. Her in-laws did not get punished by Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian because they were relatives, who were just kicked away or ignored by the couple whenever they made a fuss with the family. If they really wanted to teach them a lesson, they would surely not have a good ending. Ms. Yen felt very nervous about the disputes that her in-laws kept creating with the first section of the family. Ms. Yen suddenly lost interest in getting angry when Ms. Zhang kept causing trouble. If Ms. Zhang did not stop, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian would teach her a good lesson sooner or later. But would Ms. Zhang know that she should stop someday? That seemed nearly impossible. So, what she needed to do was to watch and learn. When mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus were dried, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian picked a day to visit the province. The mushrooms were ready to be sold to Yuezheng Xiao, as they had promised earlier. After this, they would buy some laborers and get ready for the spring plow. There was enough work headed their way, including seedlings, making rakes, planting corn, taro, soybeans, planting vegetables, cleaning bamboo mountains. Once the spring warmed up, the farmers tended to get very busy. Around that time, the tea saplings will grow taller and it would be time to transplant them. The flowers in the flower field were about to bloom, and needed to be made into lipsticks. Xiao Xian and everyone else would get much busier than before. Once they returned from the province, peach and apricot flowers should die in bloom. There were not many, but they would also be enough to make some lipsticks. After that, roses, and Chinese roses and pomegranate flowers would follow, keeping them busy for half a year. Ms. Su was pregnant, so she could only be of a little help, whilst Xiao Dalong needed to recoup his injury. Xiao Yunduan was focusing on his studies, which reduced the number of people contributing to the tasks by a large degree. As a result, they had to buy some helpers. This time when they came to the province, they didn't stay at the hostel, but headed directly to the Yuezheng family. The doctor whom Xiao Yunduan had hired was living in the Yuezheng mansion. Old Master and First Madam moved back to the mansion during the Chinese New Year, and a capable person like First Madam had already taken over the affairs in the mansion whilst Old Master focused on the business. It all worked out well. Ms. Mi Jr. was so annoyed that she almost passed out. She tried to cause some trouble but got pushed away by First Madam, failing to do anything else. First Madam treated Xiao Xian as their savior, so she would be really hurt if Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan did not come to live in the mansion when they were in province. Days got longer after the New Year, and when Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan came to the Yuezheng family, it was still bright outside. Chapter 5:10. Visit in Province. The housekeeper recognized Xiao Yunduan immediately, and when he saw both of them coming, he invited them in passionately. He rushed to inform the First Madam and Old Master as well as the third young master of their arrival. Although he had no idea what the relationship between young Master Xiao and Old Master was, he knew that Old Master and First Madam considered them as very important figures. Xiao Yunduan had mentioned on the day when he came over to ask for the doctor that he would come and visit them soon. So, their arrival was not very sudden. Yuezheng Xiao came to greet them personally and they laughed and talked happily. Xiao Xian had carried mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus with them. Yuezheng Xiao asked his men to carry them all into his yard and started to check them out. Yuezheng Xiao's eyes sparkled when he saw what was in front of him. He patted Xiao Yunduan's shoulders. "Brother Xiao, these are wonderful snow fungus. And these mushrooms, wooden ears are all in great form. Oh my, your village is great, and it has everything." Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Xian chuckled. Yuezheng Xiao asked about the weight of those things and informed them about the market price. Then, he bought them all with a price twice more than that in the market. The first-class dried snow fungus weighed 36 liang for half a kilo, and sun-dried mushrooms and wooden ears were priced at 100 wen and 61 for half a kilo respectively. This amounted to more than 700 liang in total. Xiao Xian had not expected that the snow fungus and mushrooms, as well as wooden ears would have different pricing, when she started to plant them. She had thought that they would simply be measured by weight. She was planning to plant enoki mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, straw mushrooms, and tea tree mushrooms in the future. It seemed that all kinds of mushrooms could be sold for money. Then she learned that snow fungus was not easily planted, and the price was very high. In comparison, the other mushrooms were much cheaper. But they had already planted mushrooms and wooden ears, so she would reduce the amount and plant more snow fungus next time. She was going to start by having a few mu of snow fungus at the Zhang village in the near future. Then, she was going to expand the scale slowly. She would have to add a few more categories of mushrooms. All of them could earn money, which was what mattered above all. Soon, Yuezheng Xiao dealt with the things they had got and took them to the guest room. You can stay here for a few more days. The weather is getting warmer. There are many beautiful sights outside the city to visit. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian exchanged a look and said with a smile, "Let's see. We will be here before the autumn examination. Please don't think we are annoying by that time, Brother Yuezheng." Yuezheng Xiao patted his head and chuckled. "I almost forgot about that. Do remember to come early at that time." After exchanging a few more words, Yuezheng Xiao waited for Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan to put away their stuff, and came to greet Old Master and First Madam together. Yuezheng Xiao's elder brother, Yuezheng Hong, was at home too. Yuezheng Hong and his wife were heading towards their parents to meet Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. The first section of the Yuezheng family were also thankful towards Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. But for Xiao Xian, they would still be in a very bad situation. First Madam liked Xiao Xian very much. She treated her as her daughter, which she did not have. It was getting very late, so they did not visit Madame Yuezheng. But they sent a messenger to tell Madame Yuezheng that they had guests. Learning that it was a poor couple visiting, Ms. Mi Jr. felt annoyed and remained indifferent. Chapter 5:11. A lovely treatment, Miss Mi Jr. sneered and told her maid that the first section of the family always hung out with filthy, lowly people. A cultivated talent was not that great or worthy enough to spend so many efforts on. The first section of the family arranged a nice, simple treatment for Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan in the main hall. It was a lovely evening. Hearing that Xiao Xian was here to buy laborers, First Madam said that she could help. She would go along so that the agencies don't cheat them. That was exactly what Xiao Xian hoped to ask her for. She thanked her gratefully. Agencies were always very tricky. They had all kinds of ideas going on in their minds. An agency would probably sell them bad quality people, seeing that Xiao Xian was not a local resident and the laborers could not be refunded once purchased. With First Madam keeping her company, things would be different. No agency would dare lie to the First Madam of the Yuezheng family. Early next morning, First Madam was about to take Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian to greet Madame Yuezheng, but Madame Yuezheng turned her down. The meeting was cancelled. First Madam asked the maid, "Did second Mrs. Yuezheng visit Madame Yuezheng this morning?" The maid nodded, without concealing a thing. First Madam snorted and understood what was going on. This sister-in-law of hers spared no efforts to give her trouble. Never mind, she didn't care. They could treat their own guests well enough. First Madam sent her men to pass on messages to the agencies she was familiar with, setting up an appointment that they were going to buy good laborers. She took Xiao Xian around during the next 2 days. As for Xiao Yunduan, he was hanging out with Yuezheng Xiao and Xianxia. The three of them headed elsewhere. At this time, the plum blossoms in the Fuyu temple outside the city were in full bloom. It was a good time to appreciate plum blossoms. First Madam said to Xiao Xian with a smile, "The plum blossoms in Fuyu temple are a must-see sight in the province. You guys came here just in time. It would be a pity if you didn't go and see them. Especially those green plums. They are the most authentic. There is the oldest green plum tree in the plum grove, which is said to be hundreds of years old. It is said that it is the mother of all green plums in the world. All the green plums in other places are born from this plant." Xiao Xian's eyes sparkled and she asked with a smile, "Is that true? Then it must be a very precious plant." She loved precious plants. First Madam didn't know the inside story, but she could see that Xiao Xian was very happy to hear this. When Xiao Xian was happy, it meant that she had done a good job as the host, so she was also glad. She nodded with a smile. "That's naturally precious. It's a treasure in the temple. Let's go today. It's the perfect time. We can just buy a few sticks of incense, and come back after having a fasting meal in the temple. The temple food in Fuyu Temple is a must-have, and the scenery in the temple is also good. It is worth the trip." Xiao Xian was looking forward to it already. First Madam arranged the wagon and they went out together. The plums were blooming and it was very lively inside the temple. There were 2 patches of plum trees in the temple. There was a large area of plum forests without any marked boundary in the back mountain, which was open to all pilgrims, and everyone could go to enjoy the flowers. There were all kinds of red, white, pink and green plums, and they were in full bloom. They were beautiful and very lively. There was another more exquisite plum garden, which was spread across 10 mu. It was built around the rare green plum that had been around for hundreds of years. This place was far more exquisite, whether it was the shape of the tree, the color of the tree, or the matching scenery. It contained various different pavilions. But it was not open to the public. Only people with considerable status, or those who had donated a large sum of incense money to the temple, were eligible to go inside. Chapter 5:12. Ancient Green Plum. Some scholars were also allowed in who gathered there to brew tea, make poetry and do paintings. The place where the first madam took Xianxia to was this small plum garden. The large patch of plum is more lively, located in the back mountains. Let's walk around here and then head to the back mountain. Xianxia nodded with a smile. The plum garden was in a very beautiful location. The trees were full of flowers and branches were full of plum blossoms. The clouds were misty and seemed to have descended to earth, which created a wonderful scene. First Madam had not appreciated flowers for years. This year also, she had almost missed the chance to see the plums. So when she saw the scene, she became very emotional at this time. But for Xianxia, who healed her husband, she would not have the time to visit this place full of beautiful flowers in her entire life. As she thought about this, she threw an even more gentle look at Xianxia. First Madam led Xianxia to look at the flowers, as they headed towards the ancient green plum tree. When the tree appeared in front of her eyes, Xianxia's eyes turned bright. She felt that the whole scene turned so clear. So, the space wanted it as well. The ancient green plum was very thick, and the dark branches were vigorous and simple, revealing the vicissitudes of time. But the tree was full of vitality and blooming flowers. They could smell the wonderful scent even from far away. The plum blossom stamens were really dark, and the color gradually became lighter when it spread outwards. When it reached the end of the petals, it turned very pale. It almost looked white from a distance. But when you looked closely, you could see a faint trace of greenery. There was not only this green plum in this garden. All the way here, Xianxia had seen many green plums. But they were not as beautiful, elegant and noble as the one in front of her. Also, the flowers were not so pure or crystal clear. She understood the matter in her heart. No wonder it was said to be a mother tree. It was naturally different from the others. Whether it was grafted or bred, the green plum next to it had not completely copied and inherited the beautiful color of the mother tree. No wonder her space had this strong reaction towards this very green plum. This is the ancient green plum tree? How beautiful! Xianxia approached it, looking excited. First Madam smiled. Yeah, everyone loves it. The plum tree was very big. First Madam and her servant were also admiring the plum blossoms. Xianxia turned her back to her a little further away, gently raised her hand to stroke the flower branch, and with a little force, quickly snapped off a 2-inch long flower branch. She quickly put the flower branch into the space. She felt slightly apologetic. She raised her hands and put her hand on the branch, silently putting the superpower into the ancient green plums so as to inject her magical energy into it. She said quietly, "I will give you magical energy after taking one branch from you. We are even now." She could have never got a branch of the green plum tree, which was regarded as a treasure by Fuyu Temple, if she asked for it from the monks. So, she had to deal with the ancient green plum directly. With the green plum in hand, Xianxia was in a good mood and walked around with First Madam. They went to a few other places in the temple, and it was lunchtime. Every table in Fuyu Temple's vegetarian restaurant had 12 dishes and 1 soup. They entered the private room, and the vegetarian dishes served in white porcelain bowls were quickly served. Each dish seemed great and had a beautiful name, looking delicious. Chapter 5:13. Your Moralities. For example, Chinese cabbage with mushrooms and bamboo shoots were called double winter and white snow. Tofu soup was called cloud and wall. Vegetables, winter bamboo shoots, mushrooms, tofu, and gluten were carefully cooked together, and the taste was as delicious as that of meat dishes. Later, Xianxia learned that the vegetarian banquet cost 100 liang for one table, since they were such precious dishes. In the afternoon, First Madam kept Xianxia company to pay a visit to the plum forest in the back mountains, where the flowers were growing freely. There were many visitors there and they were all chatting, which was a starkly different scene compared to that from the quiet, small plum garden. The two of them had a good time and were very happy when they went home. First Madam smiled. Let's go shopping tomorrow. It is getting very warm and there are many new garments and ornaments as well as cosmetics in the market these days. You are young and you should dress up well. I am sure that we will get some suitable ones for you to wear even at home. Every woman loved to go shopping. Also, it was much more convenient to have someone like First Madam with her. Xiao Xian smiled brightly. Satisfied. First Madam smiled again. Just tell me whenever you spot something great. I am willing to buy everything for you. Xiao Xian smiled. I will definitely tell you. First Madam laughed. Great. The two of them returned to the mansion and heard the message from Yuezheng Xiao that they were not coming back for dinner. First Madam did not care. She asked the kitchen to get some small dishes prepared since only she and Xiao Xian would be there for dinner. But before dinner, Ms. Mi Jr. and Yuezheng Ting showed up. Elder sister-in-law. Hey, elder aunt. Both of them greeted First Madam but ignored Xiao Xian, who was sitting next to her. They did not even want to have a look at her. Ms. Mi Jr. passed an invitation to the First Madam. This is Madam Jia's invitation, asking us to attend a flower feast in a couple of days. Madam Jia and we are in a good relationship. I am sure that you won't turn her down for no reason, right? Elder sister-in-law? She finally glanced at Xiao Xian and smiled. Mrs. Xiao, you are in a good relationship with the elder sister-in-law, and I mentioned that to Madam Jia, who said that Mrs. Xiao could tag along too, so everyone could see what kind of excellent woman has befriended the elder sister-in-law. Also, Mrs. Xiao, you can meet some noble ladies from the province, so you can build some more contacts, since you are a businesswoman, right? First Madam did not like what Ms. Mi Jr. said. She was looking down at Xiao Xian blatantly. She was about to say something, when Yuezheng Ting blinked and smiled as if she were totally innocent. Yeah, Mrs. Xiao, come and join us. Aunt Jia's invitation to you is nothing less than an honor, and you can go and open your horizons a little, right? Or are you afraid of going there? Ting. First Madam snapped at her. Do you have any moralities? Yuezheng Ting flushed. Elder aunt, we are all a family and I am just being honest, saying things straightforwardly. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered too. Elder sister-in-law, why are you scolding Ting? Why is she wrong? Chapter 514. Ms. Mi Jr.'s anger. Ting has grown up next to Madame Yuezheng. If you doubt her morality, you are suspecting Madame Yuezheng instead. First Madam sneered. Stop using Madame Yuezheng's name in front of me. You don't need to care how I treat my guests. Just leave. Before Ms. Mi Jr. could say anything, Auntie Hua walked up with a false smile and dragged away Ms. Mi Jr. fiercely. When Ms. Mi Jr. was gone, Yuezheng Ting left as well. Outside the yard, Ms. Mi Jr. got so angry that she almost collapsed. How dare this countryside bitch get me humiliated like this? Yuezheng Ting was displeased as well. Mom, I really don't like that woman. Her third brother would rather introduce young Master Xie to the lowly couple than to her. That was why Yuezheng Ting never liked Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. Also, Xiao Xian once turned her down and humiliated her in front of the two sisters of the Xie family. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered. What is elder aunt doing with them? How can their family actually befriend such a couple? Wait. Ms. Mi Jr. raised her eyebrows. Your elder aunt has a high taste. No ordinary people would be treated so well by her. Could there be anything special about the couple? Yuezheng Ting sneered. Special about the couple? I don't think so. You don't know your elder aunt well, Ms. Mi Jr. said. She and third brother, as well as the whole first section of the family, treats them so specially. There has to be a reason for that. Where on earth are they from? I don't think I would not be able to find out their details. Ms. Mi Jr. had looked into Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan's backgrounds, but she gained nothing after looking through the villages in the neighborhood. Now, she suddenly realized that maybe they had lied about where they were actually from. But where were they from, anyway? The more Ms. Mi Jr. thought about this, the more she believed that there was a secret behind this whole thing. Xian, don't take what they say in heart. They are not picking on you. They are picking on me. Ignore them. First Madam apologized to Xiao Xian in the room. Xiao Xian nodded and smiled reassuringly. I know that, Aunt. Ms. Mi Jr. had been sure that First Madam and her husband would not be back to the mansion, and that Old Master would probably die soon. But unexpectedly, Old Master recovered completely, and the couple went back to the mansion. Ms. Mi Jr. could not stand that anymore. She had started to think that she was already in charge of the mansion. She caused enough trouble when she believed that there were people backing her up. After all, she was very good at causing trouble. First Madam looked relieved. That is good. I knew that you are an understanding person. She lowered her head and asked, will you come with me to the Jia family's banquet in a couple of days? Oh well. Don't worry. First Madam laughed. No one will look down at you. You will be with me. And she will be keeping you company as well. She teased. When Yunduan becomes the recommended man, or reaches even further, you will need to be able to handle such situations. Chao Xian was not afraid. She was just not very interested. Hearing that, she did not turn down First Madam. She understood that the older woman was being kind to her. Okay. I will join you. Please be sure to teach me whatever I don't know, Aunt. Chapter 5:15. Unfriendly guest, that is no problem. First Madam smiled brightly. Xian, you are smart. You will understand everything once I tell you. Soon it was time for dinner, and First Madam asked Chao Xian to join her for the meal. Miss Jean asked her servant to prepare 2 dishes for them, which made First Madam feel quite satisfied. Her daughter-in-law was very understanding. As long as the first section of the family was doing well, she did not care about how the second section of the family behaved. All Ms. Mi Jr. could do was try to disgust her. But she was not foolish, and that made Ms. Mi feel frustrated. The 3 sons of the second section of the family were in a good relationship, and they respected her as elder aunt. That made Ms. Mi Jr. very uncomfortable. First Madam was in a good mood. She invited Chao Xian to join her for food in a very friendly tone. After they finished dinner, they talked about going shopping the next day. First Madam planned to pick 2 outstanding dresses and some ornaments for Chao Xian for the visit at Madame Jia's home, so that no one would dare look down at her. By the time they were almost done chatting, Yuezheng Xiao and Xiao Yunduan came over. Xiao Yunduan was here to pick up Chao Xian and go back to their guest house. First Madam smiled brightly and asked Chao Xian to join her for breakfast before going out together the next morning. Then, she let her go with Xiao Yunduan. The couple was in a good relationship. First Madam smiled and said that if she had a daughter, she would like to marry her to someone like Xiao Yunduan. He was devoted, low-profiled and moral without showing any arrogance. Moreover, he cared about his wife too. It was still not very dark, and the afterglow was shining bright in the west. The couple chatted and walked towards the guest house. Chao Xian told Xiao Yunduan about what they had seen at Fuyu Temple during the day. Xiao Yunduan listened to her carefully, responding to her every now and then with gentleness. He was glad as long as she was happy. Suddenly, they saw Yuezheng Ting waving at them not very far away. Hello, Mrs. Xiao. Chao Xian's face stiffened. Xiao Yunduan frowned slightly. The second miss of the Yuezheng family doesn't seem to be here without purpose. Chao Xian chuckled. There is always someone in the family who is troublesome. I am quite curious about what she wants from me. Soon, Yuezheng Ting and Jiang came to them. Greetings, what a coincidence. Chao Xian said calmly. We are heading back to the guest house. What can I do for you, second miss? No, it is just that I would like to have a small chat with you. Yuezheng Ting smiled. I am not picking on you. I am just a straightforward person. Don't be mad at me. Xiao Yunduan's eyes sank. He knew that she was up to no good. He wondered what she wanted to do to his wife. Xiao Yunduan again told himself that he was going to become successful in his career so that no one would dare look down on his wife. Chao Xian smiled. It is fine, second Mississippi. I don't mind. I knew you were generous. Yuezheng Ting smiled happily. That's why I would like to be your friend. Where is your home? I will come and visit you someday. Both Chao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were taken aback. Why was the second miss of the Yuezheng family suddenly curious about where they were from? They were not going to reveal the truth. They did not intend to lead the enemy home. Now they were sure that this second miss was going to bring trouble to them. Chapter 5:16. Maybe they did not want any trouble for themselves. Just a place in the outskirts area, it's the countryside, Not good enough for you to visit, Second Mississippi. You shouldn't bother to visit the place. The more Xianxia tried to turn her down, the more excited Yuezheng Ting became. She smiled. It is okay. My third brother visits the place often, right? I won't find it too bad, either. Mrs. Xiao, just tell me where it is. It is not a secret, is it? Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. This blunt girl just did not know how to talk. Seeing that she could not dodge the question, Xiao Xian said with a forced voice, My home is in Shihe town of Li County. Yuezheng Ting bore that in mind, but did not seem very happy. Shihe town of Li County? But I don't think that was what you told me last time. Xiao Xian blinked her eyes and showed an embarrassed smile. Li County is located in the outskirts of the province. Sorry for not making it clear. It is not a big deal though, is it? Yuezheng Ting had no way to counter her. That seemed to make sense. Anyway, I got it now. I will come and visit you with my mom now. Bye. Yuezheng Ting left with Jiang quickly. Xiao Yunduan asked her. So, she is here to ask us this? Why? Xiao Xian chuckled. Not sure. She can find her answer in Li County. The couple exchanged a look and laughed. Xiao Yunduan did not think there was anything wrong with Xiao Xian misleading the girl. He said, I don't think that Miss Yuezheng is a good-tempered person. She may come and pester us next time if she fails to find us. What about buying a small courtyard in the province next time we are here? They could just live in the courtyard rather than at the mansion, where they might keep running into Yuezheng Ting. Xiao Xian's eyes sparkled. That is a good idea. If we have the courtyard, you can come and wait for the autumn examination ahead of time. We will have more freedom if we have a place of our own. After a few moments, she suggested. What about buying a bigger one, so that our mom and the others could come and live with us too? They can also see how busy the province is. Also, third brother and third sister-in-law are looking forward to coming here as well. Speaking of the funny Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni, Xiao Yunduan smiled. Their mood was lifted up. Okay, it's a deal. On the other hand, Yuezheng Ting was showing off how she got to know Xiao Xian's address. That should be the correct address. I don't think she will dare to lie to me. It's my fault that I did not pry deeper last time. Ms. Mi Jr. believed her. They would not dare lie to her daughter, would they? Anyways, it was just their home address, not something secretive. She was going to dig deep into this family to see what on earth was so special about them that was worth the attention of the first section of the family. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian took a walk and went back to the guest house. They washed themselves up and slept soon. Early next morning, Xiao Xian and the First Madam went shopping after breakfast. First Madam wanted Xiao Xian to look pretty at Madame Jia's banquet. Thus she took her to high-end garment stores, latest jewelry pavilions and best cosmetic stores for shopping. Xiao Xian could see how expensive those places were the moment she looked up. She wasn't so sure about entering those places. It is fine. Go in, please. First Madam smiled. You are a nobly born lady and you are sure to have more happiness to come to you in the future. You should be dressed accordingly. Chapter 517. For planting Xiao Xian smiled. Aunt, everyone knows that I am a businesswoman from the countryside. These kinds of clothes don't fit my identity. As for prosperity and happiness, I don't need to be impatient. There will always be a chance in the future. First Madam stiffened. Xiao Xian smiled. Aunt, I am not in a hurry. There will be one day when I have glory. First Madam soon understood her meaning. Ms. Mi Jr. was surely going to disclose Xiao Xian's identity and add fuel to the fire. So, if Xiao Xian was too well dressed, the outsiders would definitely know that it was the First Madam who made the preparations for her, which might cause her far more belittling looks, as well as jealousy. They would be envious of her for having managed to suck up to the First Madam. Moreover, they would look down at her behavior and think of her as greedy and opportunist. No one would believe that Xiao Xian was able to afford any of these by herself. It was my lack of consideration. First Madam smiled. Okay, let's change to another place. But we can surely buy some ornaments. They are never out of fashion. Xiao Xian nodded. They went shopping for half a day and First Madam took her to a high-end restaurant for lunch. There was steamed pork ribs with betel nut taro and a shredded radish cold dish that made Xiao Xian's eyes shine. She asked the manager if she could give her some betel nut taro and spring watermelon. She was going to take them home for planting. The taros planted at home were small, soft and tasty, but they had a different taste compared to that of betel nut taro. There were many dishes that could be made with betel nut taros. In addition to steaming pork ribs, they could also steam braised meat, roast meat after oiling, steam mashed taro, cut them into strips and fry, cook porridge with them, and make pancakes. They were going to taste great. Spring watermelons were very good for cold dishes, fresh, sweet and crispy. With First Madam present there, the manager agreed. He asked his page boys to bring large betel nut taros and good-shaped spring watermelons for her to take home, without charging any teas. He even said happily, "Mrs. Xiao, you have sharp eyes. These have been transported from outside the province. They are not from here." Xianxia smiled and thought to herself that she was going to make them grow here. On the wagon, First Madam smiled seeing her cherishing these two plants. "If you like them, next time I will ask my elder son to fetch some more from outside and have them delivered to you." "Thanks, elder aunt, but these are enough." Xianxia did not want to conceal it from the First Madam. She answered happily, "Actually, I want them to plant at home, and in a couple of months, they will grow nicely. I can send a few for you to eat." First Madam was startled and answered, "You know less than I do. Didn't you hear what the manager said? These are not from here. Our soil might not be good enough for them. Don't be disappointed later." Xianxia was confident. She curved her lips and smiled. "I may be able to plant and grow things that others can't." First Madam. She suddenly thought of what her younger son had said. Chapter 5:18. Accompaniment. Her younger son told her once that Xiao Yunduan and Xiaoxian had planted many things at their home. She suddenly remembered different things, including bergamots, shiitake mushrooms, tremella, watermelon, gastrodia alata, jellies, tomatoes, and various fruits. Xiaoxian didn't seem to have lied to them. "Okay. Then I will be waiting for your fruits. Do remember to give me some." First Madam smiled. Xiaoxian chuckled and nodded. "Of course." In the afternoon, Xiaoxian asked First Madam to take her for a visit to the farming market, where she bought quite a lot of things. She picked up several different kinds of green vegetables and cabbage seeds. There was also a variety of long beans with white skin and black beans inside, and a kind of beans that only had beans in the pods to eat. These beans had purple flower spots and tasted glutinous. Her purchase list also included lotus beans, as well as chayote, gourd melon, a light yellow pepper shaped like a lantern called habanero-type pepper, and many more. There was a lot to harvest, and Xiaoxian was really happy about it. First Madam asked her with interest, "If you are so good at planting things, your brother Hong knows a lot of people across the country, so he can gather seeds for you periodically. If you can make these plants grow successfully, I will be able to taste different things too." Xiaoxian smiled. "Honestly, Aunt, that is exactly what I have been thinking. I have asked my third brother to look for them for me." First Madam laughed. "That is fantastic." The two of them looked at each other in a good mood. The following day, they were supposed to buy the laborers. Xiao Yunduan and Yuezheng Xiao came along for this errand. First Madam was one of the most promising leading madams in the province, and was well respected. But she had been almost forgotten after she withdrew from the society to take care of the old master. Now that she was back, the moment she returned to the mansion, she was able to take control of the whole mansion. Only a few days had passed, and everyone in the upper class of the society knew about this development instantly. Agencies were engaged in dealing with noble ladies, so they got the news very fast. No one would dare to play any tricks if someone went to buy the laborers with First Madam. They did not try to lie to Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan, and introduced the most suitable ones to them. Otherwise, people who just gained some wealth but had no idea about the market like Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan, the agents would definitely try to fool them. They would quote high prices and sell them terrible laborers. Even if Xiao Yunduan and Xiaoxian were clever, they could be tricked in this aspect since it was new to them. But now that would not happen. Xiaoxian planned to buy a few dozen people to reside at the Zhang village to sort out the tea and the garden of the creeping figs. The agent happened to have 3 families of farmers who had arrived from another town. She introduced them to Xiaoxian passionately. They are down-to-earth people who are good at farming, and diligent too. They are from 3 different places and can be supervised easily. Xiao Xian believed that with First Madam around, the agent would not play tricks on them. Since the agent said so, she decided to inquire more about them. She smiled. Why so? The agent laughed and started to explain to Xiao Xian. Chapter 519. Rare, Mrs. Xiao, you are new to this. If 2 families are acquaintances and move to a new place, they would stick together and isolate the third. If 3 families are acquaintances, the 3 families would become one and isolate the manager. So, the best solution is that they shouldn't know each other. I am just saying that out of precaution. It doesn't necessarily have to be like this. What we need to do is to be careful. That made Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan less confused. That is a valid point. Xiao Xian smiled. You are right. We better be careful. But for what you said, we would not have thought about this before. Xiao Xian thanked her constantly. You are welcome, Mrs. Xiao. The agent cheered inwardly. She could not help but develop a good feeling towards the couple. She had been in this business for more than 30 years, she was very experienced, and could see through the world easily. Generally speaking, people who became rich from ordinary or poor families had the biggest self-esteem and inferiority complex. They just did not listen to other people's suggestions, and always felt that others were laughing at them in their hearts. They would not ask for suggestions or be grateful like the woman in front of her. But Xiao Xian was frank and natural, which was a rare thing. She was confident and seemed to have a lot of abilities that would definitely take them ahead in life. So, the agent definitely wanted to befriend her. Finally, they bought 18 laborers as well as 6 maids. First Madam offered a temporary place for these people at the private mansion. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan thanked her for the generosity. The 3 households were called Lin Jin, Xiao Shisan and Dong Da, whilst the 6 maids were called Chunyu, Chuanfan, Damon, Xiaoman, Lixia and Liqiu. All of those were solar terms for easy remembrance. First Madam laughed at the logic behind the naming process. When the laborers were bought, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan's mission was completed. After Madame Jia's banquet the next day, they would head home. It was a busy season for the farmer's family and they had no time to waste. They had money so they could hire laborers for help, thus not being in such a hurry as the others and choosing to stay at home. Xiao Yunduan kept Xiao Xian company for shopping this afternoon. First Madam was very understanding. She could not keep her to her side all the time, especially when she had not spent some quality time with her own husband. The following day, Ms. Mi Jr. hurriedly ate breakfast and came to the First Madam's residence with Yuezheng Ting, fearing that Xiao Xian would not show up for the banquet. The daughter and the girl were very well dressed in brocade garments and wearing a lot of shining jewelry. We will keep each other company, so I have brought Ting along to accompany Mrs. Xiao. Oh, Mrs. Xiao is ready as well? Ms. Mi Jr. sounded very relaxed. She was looking forward to seeing the show. She smiled even deeper when she saw Xiao Xian. First Madam smiled briefly. Xian is ready. Thanks for your concern. Ms. Mi Jr. chuckled. Elder sister-in-law, your guest is mine as well. Yuezheng Ting threw a glance at Xiao Xian. She was dressed in a pale lotus-colored satin-faced placket, ivory white stand-up collar jacket, and a beige bamboo leaf-patterned silk-faced pleated skirt. Chapter 520. Sidekick. Apart from a crystal-clear jasper hairpin studded with pearls the size of a finger, there were a few silver hairpins and silk flowers on the bun, completely different from how Yuezheng Ting and her mother were dressed. Elder aunt, why didn't you buy some new dresses for Mrs. Xiao? She looks so shabby. Ms. Mi Jr. chuckled and added, Yeah, elder sister-in-law, if you didn't have time to arrange this small thing, you could have left it to me. I have many new clothes that aren't worn yet, which are still better than what she is wearing now. I can get someone to fetch them for Mrs. Xiao. This outfit on her looks very improper. People might think that you are looking down at your guest. Xiao Xian threw a strange look at Ms. Mi Jr., but said with a smile, Second Madam Yuezheng, I don't really get it. I am here as a guest, and I am wearing my own dress. Why is it related to aunt? I am not part of the Yuezheng family. Was she trying to make her into a laughingstock? Sorry, that would not work. We are from the countryside, and this is how we are dressed. Aunt gave a jade hairpin to me, but I still think it is too much. I am sure that Madame Jia knows where I am from, and if she looks down at me, she should not have sent me the invitation. Isn't that right? Xianxia heard from the first madam that Madame Jia was Ms. Mi Jr.'s good friend. So, Ms. Mi Jr. should have said a lot of things to Madame Jia who would help Ms. Mi Jr. in every aspect. Therefore, Ms. Mi Jr. must have told Madame Jia everything about her. If Xianxia was dressed fitting her status, then she could counter anyone who laughed at her, and First Madam would help her as well. But if she was dressed above her status, she might become a laughingstock. Ms. Mi Jr. felt somehow uncomfortable, as if her secret had been seen through, so she felt annoyed due to shame. Madame Jia doesn't look down at you. But you are the guest I bring to the banquet, so you can always be dressed beautifully. Yuezheng Ting said straightforwardly, Mrs. Xiao, my mom is being kind-hearted. After all, you barely will get a chance to attend any banquet in the future, so you should cherish this occasion. First Madam frowned and threw Yuezheng Ting a displeased look. It seemed that this niece of hers had been completely ruined by her mother. This sister-in-law had ruined 2 of her daughters. How excellent she had been at raising a child. No need. Xianxia ignored her provocation and showed a brief smile. I am fine like this. Just save your breath. First Madam said coldly, Xian is the guest and she should have the final say. I like how she is dressed. Very proper. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered. Okay then, you have the say, elder sister-in-law. She sized up Xianxia secretly, thinking that Xianxia must be feeling unconvinced. She was a countryside person and she never had the qualification to attend any noble banquets in the province. It was such a rare opportunity. She would definitely have liked to dress up well and show up in glory. Every woman loved beautiful clothes and jewelry. Anyway, Ms. Mi Jr. snorted coldly. She believed that Xianxia would hate the elder sister-in-law for what she got now. It was a fun thing to watch. Chapter 521. Lipsticks. The 4 of them walked out together, accompanied by young and old maids, filling up 2 wagons. Many guests had already arrived by the time they reached the Jia family. First Madam had been to many banquets and feasts since she returned to the mansion during the new year, but she had not visited this place. It was also her first since her return. Madame Jia paid a great deal of attention to her arrival, especially coming to the door to greet them. They were all in a happy mood. First Madam introduced Xianxia formally to Madame Jia and the others. Xian and I hit it off instantly, and we have become good friends. I invited her to my mansion as a guest. Since you sent the invitation to me, I brought her along with me. She doesn't know much about the rules in the families in the province, so you should not laugh at her. Everyone smiled and said that they would not. Soon the guests settled down, and it was very lively in the hall. Young ladies and madams were gathered together and taking a walk in the garden. The ladies from the Jia family interacted with Xianxia with a smile, for the sake of First Madam. First Madam asked she to take good care of Xianxia, but threw her a worried look. In return, Xianxia smiled and nodded, indicating to her to remain assured. She was not being polite. She really did not need any help. She could see through every corner of the whole mansion by just touching one leaf. Her scope of sight was far beyond the mansion too. Nothing could escape her observation. If she were still set up after this, then she would just call herself unlucky. Those ladies and madams were all friends, or acquaintances, or had at least heard about each other. They accidentally or intentionally ignored Xianxia. Xianxia never had the intention to make herself a part of their lives. She did not care. She just went for a stroll among those people who were strangers. As she was about to take a seat in the pavilion, Xianxia heard them talking about lipsticks, which drew her attention. Yuezheng Ting became the center of attention of all the ladies and madams. Everyone seemed very earnest. Ting, the lipsticks are part of your family's stores, and you are always the first one to get the newest product. My nanny can't even manage to get one until a few days later, and has only managed to buy only 2 of them till now. Yeah, it is so difficult to buy. I heard that there will be some new colors like peach and apricot. Is that true? Can you reserve 2 for me in each color? I want 2 as well, or even 1 is enough. Me too. My cousins in Jianghu love them, and they keep asking me to buy some. Ting, why not tell third brother that he can just sell the products to us, not to others? We can pay the same as others will. In fact, I can buy everything from his store. That is a wonderful idea. Me too. Me too. Xianxia was dumbfounded, and she could not help but smile. She felt very proud. Lipsticks were definitely a profitable venture. When she had enough labor and beeswax, she would make some more. She would also produce more colors to meet the market's demand. Chapter 522. Limited version. Yuezheng Ting felt both furious and proud, seeing the jealous eyes. The outsiders might think that her third brother's business was equivalent to hers and that she could make these decisions, but the truth was not like that at all. Her third brother did not want to give many to her, though the products cost so little. He did not share any extra ones ever. She and her mother just could not find out where he got the products from. She enjoyed being asked for a favor, but she could not do anything about the requests. Yuezheng Ting forced a smile. That is my third brother's business. He is very conservative and only sells them at the store, not in private. Lipsticks are rare and the amount is limited, and he needs the lipsticks to bring in more business for his store's other products. I can't persuade him when it comes to business. They all sighed and got very disappointed. It was not the first time for them to entrust Yuezheng Ting to do this, so they weren't too surprised or disappointed. They just spoke of it when the topic was mentioned again. What if it was possible this time? Yuezheng Ting saw Xianxia, who was leaning against the banister, and felt a bit annoyed, as if she had been humiliated in front of Xianxia, who may be laughing in her heart at this moment. She grabbed Xianxia and smiled at them. You may not know this, but Mrs. Xiao's husband and my third brother are in a good relationship. My third brother even has received them home as guests. Uncle and aunt treat them so well. Maybe you can beg Mrs. Xiao to talk with my third brother about this. Xianxia. She felt that this lady had hit the target unintentionally. If she told him about it, he would definitely agree. The lady seemed to have heard a huge joke. I am sure she doesn't even know what lipsticks are. Yeah, she definitely can't afford them. Ting, you are so funny. I think Ting might have her reason to say so. Maybe it is possible. What about having a try? I think so too. I really want new lipsticks. Me too. They all turned to Xianxia with a teasing smile. Well, Mrs. Xiao, can you speak with young Master Yuezheng about selling some lipsticks to us? We will pay according to the market price. We can share some commission fees with you for it. What about helping us? They all looked at Xianxia. Xianxia smiled. That won't work. Young Master Yuezheng has his own rules in business. If he breaks the rules, his reputation would be ruined. You can hire people to stand in the queue and you can buy them. But I do have a piece of news that I can reveal to you. I heard that young Master Yuezheng is going to present a limited version of lipsticks, which is a rare thing. 10 sets at most. If you need them to appear again, you may have to wait for a decade. They were all startled. Limited version? What is a limited version? It is very rare. That is great. I definitely want one. Chapter 523. Desire, me too. So only 10 sets of the limited version? That is so less. Yeah, it must be so difficult to buy one set. But why limited? Mrs. Xiao, can you tell us more? Yuezheng Ting's face changed. She intended to bring Xianxia out to draw others' attention so they could ignore her and sneer at Xianxia instead, rather than let her be in the spotlight. But she attracted everyone's attention for real. That was not the plan. Also, Yuezheng Ting did not believe what Xianxia said. What limited version? Why only 10 sets? She was an outsider, how could she know so much? Mrs. Xiao is joking with us. Yuezheng Ting glanced at Xianxia and smiled. Stop it, Mrs. Xiao. You can't joke about business. Xianxia was not going to follow Yuezheng Ting's plan. She needed to promote the limited version. The more she promoted it, the more it would be discussed, and there would be more people who would want to buy it. The price would be raised, and the quality would look good as well. I am not joking. Xianxia pretended to be confused, chuckling. Second miss, that is what young Master Yuezheng said to me. This is not a joke. Yuezheng Ting was annoyed. Even if it is real, you can't spread the secret without third brother's permission. That is business, it can be either big or small, you can't just spread rumors. The girls were all startled, without any idea what to say. They glanced at Yuezheng Ting indifferently. Her reaction was way over the top. Who did she think they were that they needed to be guarded against? Xianxia blinked and showed a look of innocence. Second miss, you don't understand. Products should be promoted, that's how they sell well. I can promise that young Master Yuezheng did not ask me to keep it a secret. Yuezheng Ting sneered furiously. I don't even know about this, but you do? What can you promise yourself with? If you don't believe me, you can ask young Master Yuezheng about this. He said that not everyone will be able to afford the limited version. It is high-end, first class and has only 10 sets, very special and rare. He is going to promote it so everyone will know about it. Those who can't afford it would be jealous of those who can afford that. Why would he want to keep it a secret? Also, who does he think that he will sell the limited version to, if he keeps it as a secret? It would cost 3,000 or 4,000 liang for one limited version of lipsticks, as I heard. She had made the price higher so that when people learned the real price, they would find it much easier to accept it and even feel that they had taken some advantage of it. What? 3,000 to 4,000 liang? Oh my! Did I hear it wrong? Mrs. Xiao, you must have heard it wrong. Seeing Yuezheng Ting obviously looking displeased, they did not dare to ask anything more, especially since Yuezheng Ting kept stopping Xianxia from sharing more details. But now everyone was very curious about the price. They needed to know it clearly so that they could satisfy their need to know. Yuezheng Ting herself was surprised as well. You! She was about to deny it when she realized that Xianxia would not be stupid enough to make such an exaggerated joke, thus stopping herself. Chapter 524. Yuezheng Ting's anger. Xianxia explained with a smile. I am not mistaken. Please, listen to my explanation. She then told everyone about how the limited version worked. Everyone heard that the raw materials of this limited edition lipstick were carefully selected, and the essential oils extracted from flowers would also be added, and the production process was far more refined. Also, the lipstick tube was not only exquisite in materials, but also was inlaid with gold. Moreover, it was designed by a famous artist, all of which made their eyes brighten. No wonder it is so expensive. Yeah, the tube is costly too. There are essential oils in it. That is very rare too. 12 beauty series, I really want a set so much. Me too. But I can't afford it. My mom won't buy one for me. I would like to have one for my dowry. I wonder if my parents would allow. Oh, but when will it be launched in the market? I can at least take a look at it. Yes, me too. Everyone started to talk about it and expectantly turned to Xianxia. Yuezheng Ting clenched her teeth and was furious inside her heart. Miss Qiao would not know everything, right? But Xianxia did know because Yuezheng Xiao was going to give her the first batch of tubes next month for this limited version. So, a month after that, she would be able to finish making them. 10 sets in total, with 5 sold separately, and the other 5 sets sold with 3 at one stage. Those who were willing to buy the new set next season could make reservations. So she smiled and answered. In a couple of months, rather within 2 months, it should be in the market. Then, you can all go and have a look at it. That's great. We will definitely be there, and we are going to buy 2 ordinary ones too. Me too. Those are wonderful things for me to take a look at. We may not be able to see them next time. Yeah. The group was chit-chatting, and people could not help but ask Xianxia if she could tell young Master Yuezheng to make some lipsticks that were not so expensive, but the quantity was limited. It didn't matter if the price was higher than the normal, but the workmanship should also be exquisite, and it was best to add some essential oils as well. Xianxia. Low-class limited version? That could work, but not right now. They needed to first sell the limited version of high quality and maybe then, they could make something else. The luxurious version had not been launched in the market, and hence, the low-class limited version should not appear so soon. Well, young Master Yuezheng is in this business. You can all send your suggestions to the manager and the sales boys at the store. They would surely pass them on to young Master Yuezheng. They all laughed. Okay, that sounds right. I will do that. I want a limited version as well, but not something that costs me 3,000 or 4,000 liang. A few hundred will do. They all nodded in agreement. Xiao Xian smiled and looked earnestly at them. They were all money to her. Seeing Xiao Xian getting so popular, Yuezheng Ting got so angry that she almost broke her teeth. Ms. Qiao was behaving way over the top. She was just a countryside woman who should know nothing. But she kept promoting her third brother. She was going to tell the third brother about this so that he could reprimand her. Yuezheng Ting felt so annoyed and then whispered an idea into Jiang's ears. Chapter 525. Bad intention. Jiang nodded and left in a hurry. Soon a maid came to serve Xiao Xian the tea, and before she was able to pass it on, she went to accept the tray with a smile and said, "Thanks for bringing it to me, one will take it over from here." The maid was startled and the tray was in Zai's hands smoothly. She threw a subconscious look at Yuezheng Ting, forced a smile and left it. That made Yuezheng Ting feel even more annoyed. It was still a bit cold at this time of the year, and they had been out for a long while. Soon it was time for lunch, and the two ladies of the Jia family made an announcement. Everyone got up and went back to the hall. After lunch, they watched the play and they would be going home after that. Seeing Xiao Xian coming back safe and sound, First Madam let out a sigh of relief, whispering to Xiao Xian holding her hands. "Everything all right?" Xiao Xian smiled and said, "Don't worry, everything is fine. If something happens, do tell me about it. Don't put yourself in a distressing situation." Xiao Xian felt her heart turning warm. "One won't. She was with me. You can ask her." She chuckled. "First Madam, Mrs. Xiao was great. I will tell you what happened. You will admire her too after that." Xiao Xian chuckled. She was just promoting her own lipsticks. That did make her feel good. "That is wonderful. I can't wait to go back and hear about it." First Madam looked very curious. Soon the banquet started, and Madame Jia asked them to be seated at the table. There were 2 tables in total, with 8 people at each. The elderly madams were in the main hall whilst the younger ones were in the wing hall. Xiao Xian came in with Yuezheng Ting, but she did not feel like sitting with her. She was worried that the girl was up to something. Had it not been for she stopping it, the tea would have spilled all over her, back at the pavilion. So, Xiao Xian kept herself away from Yuezheng Ting. But she was still framed, eventually. The maid serving the soup spilled it on Lady Min, who was seated next to Xiao Xian. She immediately kneeled down and begged for forgiveness, saying that it was Xiao Xian who hit her so she spilled the soup. Lady Min snapped at Xiao Xian. "You know how much my dress costs? 80 liang. Can you afford it? It is made from a new material, and you ruined it." Everyone looked at each other, uttering no sound. After all, they did not care since they were not involved. No one wanted trouble for themselves. Unless it was Xiao Xian's friends who would defend her. But Xiao Xian had no friend and Lady Min was apparently a more promising contact to stick to for future use. Therefore, they had picked their favored side. Those who were Yuezheng Ting's good friends were very happy to see how the show went. She was so angry. "Lady Min, I saw that Mrs. Xiao. She..." Xiao Xian stopped her and turned to Lady Min. "You are sure it was me?" Lady Min sneered. "The maid won't make a mistake, would she?" Xiao Xian smiled. "Yeah, maids at the Jia family are well trained. So, I don't think that they would make a mistake." The 2 ladies of the Jia family suddenly felt embarrassed. Many ladies turned to them curiously as well. The maid should admit the fault even if it was not her. After all, she was a maid. So, either she was looking down at Xiao Xian, or just trying to get herself out of the trouble. A maid who should not blame guests so casually. Chapter 526. Money and clothes. It meant that she must have been assigned to do this, and it must have been approved of by the ladies of the Jia family. Else a maid would not dare do something like that. Finally, it pointed to just one thing: the Jia family wasn't a very nice family. Xiao Xian was the first-time guest. Why should the Jia family cause her trouble? Also, if a maid dares to do this, it was because her mistress wasn't nice. Totally immoral and uneducated. The 2 ladies of the Jia family glanced at Yuezheng Ting and regretted it. It was Yuezheng Ting who had begged them and promised them something so they could arrange Xiao Xian to sit next to Lady Min, who was narrow-minded and cared about her appearance. She wanted to set up Xiao Xian. She did manage to set up Xiao Xian, but Xiao Xian got the Jia family involved in this as well. Xian added.
Since you are sure that it was me who did this, then Lady Min, I am sorry and I can pay you 100 liang for this dress, all right?
Lady Min was startled and snorted. Pay me then. She could not help but burst with joy. 100 liang. She only had a monthly pocket money of 3 liang, and she barely had any extra money to spend. This amount was going to keep her rich for a long while. But Xian added politely. Then my 100 liang should be able to buy out this dress, right? Lady Min should never be allowed to have this dress any longer, no? Too bad that it can't be washed by you. I can take it home and wash it myself. Could you please give me the dress?
Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha.
Most young ladies and madams laughed, as they turned to Xian disdainfully. She was indeed a countryside woman who even wanted a dress someone else had worn before. How humiliating! Yuezheng Ting laughed too. She was glad to see the situation develop like this. If she recounted the story to the whole mansion, everyone was going to laugh at her. Her elder aunt had considered this kind of girl as someone important. Wasn't she afraid of getting humiliated? Lady Min snorted proudly. Sure. Pay me and the dress is yours. Take it as you want. Keep Lady Min company to get changed, and remember to give me the dress when she is done. Xian said and handed over 100 liang to Shi, saying calmly, Then, I can ask Aunt who makes this dress so expensive and worth so much money, so I can also buy 2 sets of garments to take them home for my sister-in-law. It was very quiet in the hall. Everyone was startled. Lady Min suddenly realized what was happening. She flushed as she turned to Xian, looking furious.
You! Xian was still composed and looked at her calmly.
She spent 100 liang buying the dress and she had all the rights to do anything she wanted with it.
Everyone knew that Lady Min's dress was not worth 100 liang, or even 80 liang as she claimed.
It would be priced at most at 8 liang. She was just bullying Xian for being a countryside girl who knew nothing. She wanted to threaten and frighten Xian so she could beg for forgiveness. Everyone had been amused to see Xian offering 100 liang to purchase the dress. Chapter 527. Trap. It turned out that the joke was on them.
As long as Xian showed the dress to the first madam and told her that the dress was worth 80 liang and that she paid 100 liang for it, Lady Min would become famous for being greedy in the upper-class circle of the province.
Moreover, the Min family would turn into a laughingstock. Lady Min was yet to be married, and no good family would want to have such a greedy and immoral person as their daughter-in-law. Everyone could not help but feel hair standing on the back. They could not help but feel fearful towards Xian. They started to believe that Mrs. Xiao was not a stupid or ignorant countryside woman, and reminded themselves to stay modest rather than judging people by their looks, or belittling people. They might get themselves into trouble by doing so. Look at Lady Min, who had set a perfect example for them. She had dug a trap for herself to jump in. How horrible! Lady Nian was so furious but she could not do anything else except to stutter. I am not selling this dress anymore. My bad luck. Okay, I don't want your compensation. Not anymore. That is not good. I never owe people anything, especially if such a dress is worth 80 liang. I will feel so bad. You are open-minded, but I can't take advantage of you. If you don't want to sell it to me, one will have to turn to the seniors to help me with the persuasion. So, please reconsider if you are selling it or not. Go and see if Aunt can join us for a while. I am sorry to trouble her.
Yes, Mrs. Xiao.
She got so excited that she was about to hurry away. Lady Nian panicked.
No, not now.
Xian put on an even more sincere look. She has to go there, you know. I never take advantage of people, especially because this dress is so expensive. Lady Nian shivered out of anger, turning to look at Yuezheng Ting. She could tell clearly that Yuezheng Ting disliked Xian. But Yuezheng Ting had been shocked by what Xian did, and her mind was in a mess. What was going on? She had never expected that Xian would dare to set up Lady Min. With one sentence, Lady Min was totally exposed. She was someone who bullied the weak, not someone who stood up to help others in trouble. Never. Therefore she moved away, pretending as if she had never seen Lady Min's pleading eyes. Lady Min flushed and turned pale. She almost burst into tears. Her maid was dumbfounded too.
She threw herself onto the ground and said in a shivering voice, "It was me. It was me who bumped into Mrs. Xiao's arm, so the soup was over, Lady Min.
It was my fault, please, forgive me." But that was not what the maid from the Jia family said. That girl insisted that it was me. So which of you lied? It is so funny. Why lie about such a small thing? Everyone present. Honestly. First Madam had spotted someone distinguished. No wonder First Madam had always been outstanding in her abilities. The two ladies from the Jia family turned uncomfortable as well. One of them kept blaming Xiao Xian for being so nosy to have pointed them out, dragging them down. But they should have realized that they were not being polite towards Xiao Xian when they tried to set her up. Chapter 528. Satisfied in that case, Xiao Xian did not care about their reputation, either. Reputation was not given, but earned. When someone intentionally set up people, they deserve to be humiliated when countered back. If Xiao Xian saved the ladies of the Jia family, would they be grateful to her? No, they would just feel lucky that Xiao Xian never thought of them. Else, they might assume that Xiao Xian did not dare offend them. Xiao Xian did it only because she knew, above all, that the First Madam did not like the Jia family, who was a good friend with Ms. Mi Jr. Hence, she did not need to care about what First Madam would think about it. It is our fault. Ju totally misbehaved. The ladies of the Jia family reacted faster than Lady Min. They expressed apologies directly and ordered someone to get Ju in to make apologies. Ju turned totally pale and dumbfounded. But it was so normal that the maid became the scapegoat for her mistress. There was nothing she could do except to admit her mistake. She and Lady Min's maid admitted the mistake together. They bumped into Xiao Xian but did not dare to admit that in panic, thus accusing Mrs. Xiao of the wrongdoings. They received the mistress's punishment. Lady Min had not yet given an open punishment, but Ju was fined 2 months' salaries. They kept apologizing to Xiao Xian constantly. Xiao Xian had reached her purpose, thus she smiled, accepting the apology. Some ladies started to feel that Lady Min and the Jia family were annoying. Luckily Mrs. Xiao was smart, so she revealed the conspiracy, otherwise she would have been totally misjudged. What was the Jia family doing? Anyone at the door was a guest who should be received well. Lady Min was even worse. Was she so in need of money that she was resorting to blackmailing? The two maids admitted the mistake, but everyone was aware that they were simply scapegoats for their mistresses, covering them up so they would not be exposed. Lady Min was completely embarrassed, so she left, saying that she did not feel well. The two ladies of the Jia family could not leave, but pretended as if they were innocent and continued to receive guests. But no one was interested in eating any longer. They pretended as if they were full and left as well. Same for Xiao Xian. They were just about to walk to the main hall when Yuezheng Ting came in front of Xiao Xian and faced her. She sneered. "Happy now? The banquet has been ruined by you? Why do you say that? I didn't spill the soup, and it was not me who caused the trouble either. Why are you accusing me then? How about saying that out loud so we can talk about this in front of everyone?" Yuezheng Ting got so angry that she was stuck speechless. She snorted and looked deeply into her eyes. "I never expected that you are so clever and full of tricks. I have misjudged you." Xiao Xian thought to herself and believed that she was still being misunderstood by her. Yuezheng Ting did not know that she was rich. Nor did she know that she was also an officer's daughter. She also did not know that she was the one who produced the lipsticks. Most importantly, she did not know that her elder uncle's disease was cured by Xiao Xian. If she knew all of these, she would definitely pass out. "I don't know you well, second miss, and it is very normal that you don't know me." Yuezheng Ting snorted and left angrily. She was dumbfounded. But she was totally convinced by Mrs. Shad's conduct. Chapter 529. Reasonable, she thought to herself that no wonder First Madam liked this girl. She was very different from the others. What happened at the hall had reached the other side of the mansion by this point. Lady Nian's mother had to leave with her, when she insisted. First Madam took hold of Xiao Xian's hands, asking concernedly, "Xian, are you all right?" First Madam asked in front of everyone present rather than secretively. A few ladies who had tried to defend Lady Min against Xiao Xian were stuck speechless. Xiao Xian felt her heart turning warm. She chuckled and shook her head. Thanks, Aunt. I am well. Also, we have sorted everything out. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered. There is a saying, you should forgive when you ain't forgiven. Xian, your behavior was way over the top. What was the point in doing all this? What are you talking about? First Madam threw her a sidelong glance. Xian said that they have sorted things through. Sure, we need to be reasonable, but not get others wrongfully accused of something as well. When First Madam was not around, Ms. Mi Jr. was the face of the Yuezheng family in society. So when she was hailed into the air, she felt very arrogant.
Gradually, she even started to believe that First Madam was never going to return to the mansion, thus behaving even more arrogantly.
Now when she was lectured by First Madam in front of everyone, she felt both ashamed and annoyed. She said sarcastically, Madam Jia is a good friend of our family, so she doesn't mind. But no one else would like to befriend such a girl who just causes trouble at a banquet. Why couldn't they just deal with the matter privately, rather than cause a scene in public? We don't belong to the same category. That was the basic rule in the upper-class circle.
Second Madam Yuezheng.
Xiao Xian said, if someone's maids wrongfully accuse the guest, I would not want to mingle with such a family either. I was lucky today to clear my name. If I failed to gain justice, I would have been blamed and Aunt would have been humiliated as well. That would make me feel very guilty. Are you countering me? Ms. Mi Jr. snapped at her.
Sister-in-law.
First Madam said coldly, Xian is talking sense. As per you, you can accuse her of something but she can't defend herself? Anyways, whatever else you have to say, tell me when we reach back home. It was very quiet in the hall.
First Madam simply could not stand this sister-in-law of hers. During the past few years, this sister-in-law kept saying bad things about First Madam and her family, which had reached First Madam's ears too. But the first section of the family only focused upon Old Master's disease, especially First Madam, who never cared about such useless gossip.
But things were different now. She could not stand it when Ms. Ni Jr. scolded the junior girl she had personally recommended. Elder sister-in-law, are you lecturing me for someone outside the family? I am talking sense with you. You can defend yourself if I am wrong. 1 a.m. not putting any pressure on you or stopping you from defending yourself. Ms. Mi Jr. could not defend herself. After all, the fault was that of Lady Min and the maids of the Jia family. If Xiao Xian had not pointed it out, it would just be a vague situation that could be solved casually. Chapter 530. Abilities. Unfortunately, the method in which she tried to cause trouble failed completely. Ms. Mi Jr. was jealous that Xiao Xian escaped and hence tried to lecture her as a senior. But Xiao Xian did allow that to happen and she was sheltered by the First Madam. So Ms. Mi Jr. kept running into bad luck. Madame Jia felt bitterness filling up her heart seeing Ms. Mi Jr. getting humiliated. She smiled and stepped forward. It was the maid's fault, and also my fault for not teaching them well. Mrs. Xiao is innocent, and Ms. Mi Jr. was just being kind. It is my fault, totally, for causing this small problem. Oh yes, the play is on. Let's go and watch the play. The other ladies let out a sigh of relief and nodded with a smile. First Madam threw a small look at Ms. Mi Jr. and said to Xiao Xian softly, how about watching the play? If you want to leave for home, we can do that as well. First Madam had understood clearly what real affection was.
Apart from some close friends and relatives, the others had turned to the second section of the family when they found that the first section of the family wasn't doing well.
She had not thought about this before, but now she realized that this attitude made her feel emotional. Even if she was not friendly to them, so what? They had to suck up to her anyway. She was capable enough to be sucked up to. She was the First Madam of the Yuezheng family, and they needed to be polite to her, not vice versa. Xiao Xian shook her head with a smile. It is okay, Aunt, let's watch the play. She did not do anything wrong. Why should she leave now? If they left now, Ms. Mi Jr. might take the chance and cause trouble. First Madam smiled. Okay, just tell me when you feel like leaving.
No one dared to look down at Xiao Xian any longer and served her carefully.
No one dared to offend someone who was so strong, especially in a circle like this.
Xiao Xian was strong herself and she was under the protection of the First Madam, so no one would dare to cause any trouble to her. Ms. Mi Jr. and Yuezheng Ting looked as if they were fine, but they felt so annoyed inwardly. They brought Xianxia here because they wanted to humiliate her in public so that First Madam could be humiliated too. But things turned out to be very different. On the contrary, Ms. Mi Jr. was lectured by the First Madam, which changed her image in front of the other madams and young ladies. Everyone understood who was the hostess of the Yuezheng family, and that the second madam simply had no sway in the mansion.
It was a peaceful and lovely time watching the play in the afternoon. When the First Madam left with Xiao Xian, Ms. Mi Jr. and Yuezheng Ting refused to leave. They wanted to have a few words with the madam of the Jia family. First Madam did not care and left with Xiao Xian first. On the wagon, she could not wait and asked Xiao Xian about what happened in detail. She laughed. First Madam, let me tell you the story. She added a lot of details and moves as she recounted the incident, amusing First Madam. Good, good. That was exactly what you should do. First Madam took Xiao Xian's hand and smiled. I'll treat you as my daughter, and if anyone dares to offend my daughter, they will have to think about the consequences. Xiao Xian felt warmth in her heart and chuckled. Thanks, Aunt. First Madam laughed and held her hand tightly. No need to thank me. Chapter 531. Limited version. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were going back the day after tomorrow, so First Madam asked Yuezheng Xiao to get the wagon ready to drive them back, as well as the laborers whom they had bought. She had the presents ready too, such as the lotus roots and water chestnuts. Yuezheng Xiao nodded with a smile, and asked his servants to do the preparations. He gave one batch of plain version of lipsticks boxes to Xiao Xian, and he would deliver the limited version to her personally, when they were ready. While they were talking, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan understood that after 2 weeks, Yuezheng was going to head northwest with goods. So, they were all busy at the Yuezheng mansion these days. They prepared and counted the goods, prepared the convoy, and finally determined the treasurers and guards to follow. They checked and visited their families to see if everything was normal, and relocated their families, etc. These things were cumbersome and there were too many matters to deal with. Though they were not difficult, it could take a lot of time to straighten things out. As they were chatting, the chief manager and the deputy manager came over to pass on the message. The couple decided to leave, but Yuezheng Xiao smiled. They must be talking about the tea business. You should stay because we may need your help with it. Yuezheng nodded with a smile too. True. The two managers were a little surprised, but they understood that these were the new suppliers for tea, thus saying nothing. But what they did not know was that Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were not ordinary suppliers. They were going to supply them with the most cherished tea and bring many profits to the tea business of the Yuezheng family. The tea business comprised more than 1/3 of the entire business of the family. The two managers wanted to check how much tea leaves they should take along to the northwest. They had a lot with them, but the leaves turned rotten halfway. The Yuezheng family always stuck to reputation, and they would not process the rotten ones and pretend that they were new. So they had to cast them aside. Therefore, the actual profits were very less with time and energy as well as other costs counted. They needed to earn 60% or more, so that people could be motivated to work harder. 20% of the profits could be earned even by small businesses. After all, merchants were far away from their relatives' hometown and traveled 2,000 to 3,000 miles or even farther. One could imagine how hard it was. All kinds of accidents and emergencies would occur on the way, so if they could not earn much, who would want to join them? The two managers meant that the weather wasn't good and there was a lot of rain, so the tea leaves would not be easily preserved. They suggested cutting the volume down so the goods would not be affected by the weather. If the rain kept pouring down, the goods would be destroyed again. It would take a few months for the round trip to be completed. If the profits could not be earned, things would look bad. Yuezheng was silent. The tea of the Yuezheng family was supposed to be sold to the nomadic tribes outside the pass. What the nomadic tribes lacked most were tea and salt. Chapter 532. Tea brick salt was under the control of the imperial court, and the Yuezheng family could not get their hand in. But tea had been their business for many years, and the Yuezheng family started with such a business. If they took smaller amounts, the tribes might get disappointed, and the other business families might take that chance and sneak in, replacing them as the main supplier. If they were replaced, not only tea leaves, but other goods might not sell easily. As long as they had satisfying tea leaves, the other goods could be sold at the same time. If the amount of tea leaves wasn't enough, then they would need to find other new clients and turn to other aspects. That was not what Yuezheng was willing to do. They were mainly a tea leaves business family, and they were experienced in it. Also, Xiao and Xiao Yun's tea farms would have a small amount of goods in early autumn this year, but next year's supply would be greatly increased. After 2 or 3 years it would reach a stable amount, and it would increase in the next few years steadily. Those were not ordinary tea leaves, but golden sprouts and lavender. With these 2 categories of tea leaves, the Yuezheng family could expand this business line to the capital. Yuezheng had been trying to expand the business to the capital, but his father ran into an accident and the whole thing was postponed. Now his father had healed and the golden sprouts and lavenders were soon going to be available, so the plan could be resumed, and things would become much easier. After all, these 2 kinds were the most difficult to cultivate and the capital had a high demand for them. Hence, as long as he had the goods, no one would be able to get rid of them. They needed to stick to the tea leaves business. It should never fade away. But the weather had made things difficult in the recent past. What if the weather turned better this year? The 2 managers and the 2 owners started having an argument. Both sides had their reasonable contentions and did not retreat at all, so the argument became very lively. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged a look between themselves. What were they doing here? Watching the show? Xiao Yunduan smiled bitterly. He knew nothing about business, let alone tea leaves. But Xiao Xian gave a suggestion instinctively. Tea leaves can be made into the shape of brick, easier to transport and much less likely to get rotten. She faintly remembered that there was a documentary about tea transportation, where the tea bricks were mentioned. The argument stopped immediately. The deputy manager did not show any look of contempt, seeing that it was the 2 owners' good friend who had spoken. But he still said calmly, "Mrs. Xiao, we are already using tea bricks." Yuezheng suddenly had hope rising inside his heart, when he saw this couple who had surprised them so many times. What if he made the right bet? Actually, bricks are differently made and processed. Some bricks can preserve the taste, color and avoid some flaws. Unfortunately, our bricks aren't good enough, so we are always seeking better ways to make tea bricks. But it is never easy. Xiao Xian thought of the system in space. She felt like giving it a try. She thought for a while and said, "One seemed to remember having read something about craftsmanship of tea bricks making. I will try to recall those things and write them down for you. Maybe it will be of some help." They were all startled. Yuezheng was also taken aback. "Are you sure? We would pay for it, if you have a better method for making tea bricks." Chapter 533. Try out. Yuezheng nodded as well. But the 2 managers were dumbfounded, falling into speechlessness. What were these 2 owners doing? Did they really take what Mrs. Xiao said so seriously? The craftsmanship of such exquisite skill should be concealed in secret, and Mrs. Xiao would not just reveal that to them so casually. She must be joking. They would have mocked her but for the presence of these 2 young masters. How shameless she was. Xiao Xian looked frank and honest. She smiled without any embarrassment. "Let me give it a try." It didn't depend on her whether she could find a solution. She was going to look it up in space. If she could find the method, that would be great. If not, then there was nothing else she could do. Yuezheng had a lot of confidence in her. He nodded as if he already had received the method. Okay, please have a try. It doesn't matter if you can remember anything. Don't be stressed. I am sure you can figure it out." Xiao Xian. She could not make a promise till the time she didn't check it in her space. Soon, Xiao Xian did find the chance to enter the space in the room, where she carefully searched the process for tea craftsmanship. To her surprise, she actually found one. Xiao Xian read it carefully and bore the contents in her mind. She could easily remember the words since what she found here was connected to her consciousness. Later, Xiao Xian slightly changed the method of narration and made a few changes in the details with the core contents remaining intact. Soon, a plan of tea brick manufacturing was formed. Xiao Yunduan helped her write them down as Xiao Xian stumbled with her words. Xiao Yunduan did not know much about the tea bricks, But when he wrote the method down, he could not help but admire his wife. His instinct told him that this was really excellent. Every step was filled with characteristics as well as the items that they needed to watch out for. Xiao Yunduan read the paper carefully and gave an admiring look to his wife.
You had all of these in mind?
Xiao Xian thought for a while and shook her head.
Not all. Some of them are my ideas, not everything is from a book.
I just figured it out myself. No book would have a complete methodology of any craftsmanship, and Xiao Xian could not find such an excuse. Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Xian burst into laughter seeing her husband's surprise on her face. As for tea, in fact, the preservation is quite easy. I can figure it out from what I read. Apart from reading miscellaneous books, I also like to think about it when I have nothing to do. Many things here are what I inferred myself. I don't know if it's right or not. But the masters who make tea bricks have rich experience. They will know after trying it. Xiao Yunduan said, "You are right." Xiao Xian chuckled and nodded. The two of them smiled at each other. When handing over the paper to Yuezheng Xiao Yunduan euphemistically mentioned how it came about, so that Yuezheng Xiao and the tea brick makers would understand it well, and won't land in trouble by blindly following the instructions. They were supposed to think more about it themselves when they were trying it out for the first time. Chapter 534. Presents Yuezheng Xiao was shocked as well. His sister-in-law was really bold and full of ideas. Then, he realized that she was not an ordinary woman. She had read a lot and was very smart. She loved to think broadly and could come up with so many delicious things to cook. Tea bricks might be her specialty as well. Some people could be good at something that no one else was able to surpass. After the paper was given to Yuezheng Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian left according to the original plan. They could not be away from home for too long during this season of the year. First Madam was unwilling to see them leave, but there was no choice. She ordered the kitchen to prepare a lot of things for them to eat on the way, and did not release Xiao Xian's hands for a long while. They had 5 wagons on the way back home. They didn't contain much luggage, but there were many people. Yuezheng Xiao had arranged it all, and Chu Shan led the way. However, not long after they left the gate, Ms. Mi Jr.'s servant, Auntie Mao, stopped the wagon. "Please, young Master Xiao, Mrs. Xiao. Our madam has a present to give to you. Hence, I am waiting for you here." Soon after, a maid came forward with a huge box. Xiao Xian did not take it but smiled. "Thanks, Aunt. Please tell second madam that we have accepted her kindness, but we don't need the present." "That's kind of you, Mrs. Xiao." Auntie Mao smiled, as she led forward a girl in her teens. The girl was wearing a light pink embroidered dress, with a slender waist, petite and exquisite. She had charming and beautiful facial features, especially a pair of eyes, which were particularly enticing. Auntie Mao led her forward. The girl threw a glance at Xiao Yunduan, then she lowered her head, showing a snowy white neck and beautiful face, looking rather attractive. Xiao Xian. She understood what was going on. Xiao Xian suddenly felt uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. She threw a look at Xiao Yunduan and sneered, waiting for Auntie Mao to make her speech. "Young Master Xiao." Auntie Mao smiled. "This is Li Yun, a present our second madam gave to young Master Xiao so that you can study well. You need to have a smart maid next to you, right? Please accept it, young Master Xiao." Li Yun put on an even more bashful posture and bowed at Xiao Yunduan. "Greetings, young master." Auntie Mao smiled. "Get on to the wagon. Do remember to serve young Master Xiao. From this day on, you are young Master Xiao's girl."
"Yes, Auntie."
The whole scene made Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Xian and Chu Shan turn dumbfounded. Auntie Mao did not think that Xiao Yunduan would turn her down. All men liked beautiful women, especially scholars who loved to have charming girls to keep them company when they read. Li Yun was young, beautiful, and lively. No man would turn her down, especially someone like Xiao Yunduan, who was from an ordinary family. He would definitely want to have someone like her next to him. Xiao Yunduan understood what was going on. But this was the first time he learned about something like this. He flushed and said, "Wait a moment. I don't need her. Please take her back, thanks." Li Yun was startled climbing midway onto the wagon. Chapter 535. For Aunt Li Yun was startled, and so was Auntie Mao.
What did you just say, young Master Xiao?
He did not want a beautiful girl for free? Pressing down the anger, Xiao Yunduan repeated word by word.
Elle just said, take her away.
What?
Young Master.
Li Yun looked up at Xiao Yunduan innocently. What is wrong with me?
Everything.
Xiao Yunduan answered coldly.
Chu Shan, let's leave now.
With that, Xiao Yunduan put down the curtain, and his handsome face was stiff. Chu Shan, who had been panicking anxiously, got really happy seeing people from the second section of the family get humiliated.
Yes, young Master Xiao.
Auntie Mao, make way please.
Young Master Xiao.
Auntie Mao could not hide her anger.
She stopped the wagon and said with displeasure, Second Madame Yuezheng is giving you a present out of kindness, young Master Xiao, but you are turning her down.
Honestly, young Master Xiao, you are a guest to our mansion. Was he daring to humiliate the madam from the Yuezheng family?
His face was stern, and without lifting the drapery, he said in a cold voice, That has nothing to do with Second Madame Yuezheng.
He was not relying on Ms. Mi Jr., and he was not threatened by a servant. Honestly, the Yuezheng family needed his family's help, to be precise, his wife's help. Xiao Yunduan never felt that he was under shadow when his wife was more capable than he was. Instead, he felt really proud. Chao Xian lifted the curtain and said, Auntie Mao, thank you for the present. We can accept the present, but I want to clarify something. This means that she will be completely at our disposal, right? Auntie Mao thought that something sounded wrong. But she did not dwell on that and added with a smile.
You are right, Mrs. Xiao. This is the present to young Master Xiao, and she will be at your disposal if you accept it.
That is great. Chao Xian smiled.
Then, I am giving her away to the first madam of your mansion, namely my aunt.
Auntie Mao, kindly send her and the contract to my aunt so she can be pleased. A beautiful, nice maid will definitely make her happy.
What?
Auntie Mao's face changed. She was totally dumbfounded. What was this situation? Chu Shan could not hide his chuckle. He was watching the show proudly.
Before the first madam and old master came back to the mansion, this old aunt tormented the servants of the first section of the family together with second Madame Yuezheng.
So, he was very glad to see her getting thrashed. Xiao Yunduan was pleased too.
He said coldly, My wife is right.
Auntie Mao, do remember to have her delivered to Aunt. Yeah, she is at our disposal, isn't she? Hence, it depends on us how we deal with her. Auntie Mao can't decide on our behalf, right? I don't think second Madame Yuezheng would be so stingy as to take back her gift. We will ask our aunt next time about it. Auntie Mao got so angry that her face twisted. Li Yun was so shocked. What did she do? Why was she treated like that? Chapter 536. Ignored problem. Chu Shan added with a smile. Don't worry, young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, I will definitely tell First Madam about this once I get back.
First Madam doesn't lack servants, but since this is a present from you, Mrs. Xiao, First Madam will surely love it.
I would be glad if Aunt liked it.
Thanks, Chu Shan. This is what I should do.
Auntie Mao shivered from head to foot. She almost passed out due to short breath. What a bully! How could the situation become like that? Chao Xian threw a sidelong look at her, smiling. Auntie Mao, anything more you want to tell me? If not, please move away. We are heading home now. Auntie Mao spat on the ground seeing them leave. She snapped.
What the hell, these impolite people. They have ruined second Madame Yuezheng's present.
Li Yun turned really anxious. She asked in a small voice after a long while.
Auntie Mao, then I will.
Auntie Mao glared at her. What will you do? Serve First Madam?
No. Li Yun shook her head anxiously. Elle don't want to. Please save me.
She had heard what First Madam was like.
She would not dare to work for First Madam, under such circumstances.
Auntie Mao snorted. We are going back to report this to Second Madam. She has her own idea. How dare you beg me for help? You are totally useless. Xiao Yunduan would have accepted her if she had been useful. Li Yun kept her head lowered, not daring to utter a sound.
She had not expected that a countryside man would turn down a beautiful girl like her to become his concubine. She did not like Xiao Yunduan, but second Madame Yuezheng said that he was rich and could become an officer in the future, thus successfully convincing her. Eventually she was looked down upon. That made Li Yun really sad. In the wagon, Xiao Yunduan felt especially annoyed. He had not expected that Ms. Mi Jr. would be so disgusting. He threw a quick look towards Chao Xian, thinking that he should say something. But Chao Xian did not look very happy and Xiao Yunduan somehow felt a little nervous, not knowing what to say. So, he could only glance at her secretly. Although Auntie Mao was driven away and the annoying Ms. Mi Jr. would get really pissed, Chao Xian was indeed in a bad mood. She suddenly thought of a problem that she had been ignoring all this time. She was having a smooth time at her mother-in-law's home, and her mother-in-law showed her favor boldly among all of her 3 daughter-in-laws. No one even objected to that. Her elder sister-in-law and third sister-in-law all trusted her, so did Qi and Tao Tao, who admired her greatly and took her advice. Although her father-in-law wasn't that reliable, she was out of his control. Moreover, she did not care about the other sections of the Xiao family. Xiao Yunduan treated her nicely too. Although they did not say it straightforwardly, both of them should know that Chao Xian was not going to leave the Xiao family and they would become a real couple in the future. Why not? Xiao Yunduan was nice to her and he defended her in front of the Chao family. He even promised to her that he would always stay by her side, so that she would never be bullied or looked down at. Chapter 537. Unpleasantness. He had encouraged her to do business, to open a tea business, rather than restrict her by telling her that she should just obey her husband. With this as the basis, Chao Xian knew clearly that she was never going to find anyone else in this era that would treat her equally well. Also, after spending much time with him, she had gradually started to like him. She could not find anyone else like this if she left them. But she suddenly realized one thing: the issue of wife and concubine. She had been carefree and busy making food and money because she never had the concept of this problem. After all, she was not originally born in this era. But now, this issue suddenly happened. In this era, rich men often had concubines, more than one. As long as he could afford them, he would have 3 or 4 concubines, or 3 or 4 maids as well as some sweethearts outside home. As long as a man wanted it. Xiao Yunduan turned down Ms. Li Yun given by Ms. Mi Jr. But what about later? Xiao Yunduan was a smart guy. Ms. Mi Jr. was up to no good, and he was not originally from a rich family, so before he became the officer, he would not accept the girl. What about later? Many people became arrogant and conceited after they were appointed as an officer. It was a fact. People changed. They were true-hearted when the conditions were the same, but who knew whether they would still remain the same when conditions changed? Maybe Chao Xian had to accept his concubine being his wife. Else she would just be labeled unvirtuous, and blamed by her mother-in-law, and by those from the Xiao family, friends and relatives. She did not care about the reputation. But she did not want to deal with such accusations. She did not want to be blamed by others or let such things ruin her day. Also, what if Xiao Yunduan himself wanted to have concubines? She could not drive them away by threatening him. If his superiors and fellows gave him beautiful girls, how could he turn them down? And how many times could he turn them down? The refusal might affect his career. Would he rather give up his career? Even if he failed to become an officer, he might still have concubines when he became rich. Chao Xian felt really distressed as she thought about this. Man, life was going to be so hard. She had thought that she was lucky enough to have a good mother-in-law and a good family as well as a good man, but there was this hidden, huge problem in front of her. So annoying. Chao Xian looked up at Xiao Yunduan and felt distressed. Xiao Yunduan also sensed something weird going on with her. He felt very confused and anxious, thinking that it must be something to do with him. But he also hoped that it was not his fault. Yet the feeling was getting weirder than before. He could not help but observe Chao Xian, and then he saw Chao Xian's look of grudge. Xiao Yunduan was startled. "What is going on, darling?" What was going on? Chao Xian snorted and suddenly felt sourness attacking her, as if she were already the wife without virtue, who was blamed by everyone in the neighborhood. She almost burst into tears. Xiao Yunduan panicked. "What happened? Darling, please don't cry." Chapter 538. Advanced Scholar. I am not crying. You are crying. Xiao Yunduan panicked. He said, my fault, definitely my fault. Of course it's your fault. Men are not good. Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan had no idea what happened. But he knew that his wife was not happy at the moment, which made him feel concerned. He thought for a while and then said gently, other men have nothing to do with us.
Tell me what is wrong with me, please.
Xiao Xian was so engaged in her imagination that she blurted out immediately. You are going to marry a concubine. Xiao Yunduan was startled. What? No, 1 a.m. not.
He denied it instantly. Xiao Xian snorted.
You will in the future.
Xiao Yunduan. He was speechless.
Elle won't in the future, either.
Xiao Xian did not believe him. Yuezheng just saying nice words. When you become an officer, you will need a concubine to keep up your reputation. Or your colleagues and superiors give you one. You will need to accept them in case you offend them. Or your family will want you to have many children. The more she thought about this, the sadder she became. She believed that he had many reasons to accept concubines, but none to turn down one. Xiao Yunduan was startled. Xiao Xian's heart sank as she saw his reaction. She was so sad when she said, anyway, I don't care, we are. Xiao Yunduan covered her mouth before she finished her words. Xiao Xian glared at him furiously. He was gagging her. I won't have any concubines. Xiao Yunduan sighed. Elle don't have any now. Nor will I have any in the future. Noble and rich people had this custom. But he did not. Why did he need a concubine? He liked Xiao Xian and he could not imagine that he would be close to anyone else. He was not used to being with anyone else. And she did not like it either. Xiao Yunduan did not think Xiao Xian's concern was wrong. Instead, he felt more worried about her. She was born a concubine's daughter, thus hoping that he would not have any concubines. Feeling pity for her, Xiao Yunduan added, one will treat you well. Xiao Xian was dumbfounded. She just realized that she had lost her temper for no reason. She suddenly felt a little guilty and embarrassed. Was he telling the truth? Is that true? Of course. If you ever lie, Elle won't. What if Elle won't? Then we will talk about this later. Xiao Yunduan swallowed down all the promises he was about to make. She did not need big promises. She needed to see what he did to her. Xiao Yunduan told himself inwardly that he was going to behave well. He was not going to give her a chance to leave. But Xiao Yunduan was laughing bitterly. He thought that if he became the recommended man, then he could possibly finally confess his feelings towards her. Now it seemed that she could only accept him after he became the advanced scholar, and assure her that he would never have a concubine. Xiao Yunduan promised to himself that he was definitely going to become an advanced scholar. Only then would he be able to have her for real by his side. Chapter 539. On the couch hearing his solemn okay, Xiao Xian felt that he was sincere. That made her feel slightly better. That would do. She had a lot of money. Most importantly, Aunt Yuezheng treated her well, and the first section of the Xiao family were not unreasonable people. If that day really came, they could separate the properties and she could make sure the breakup went peacefully, even if it meant that she might face some losses. When this idea came into her mind, Xiao Xian finally felt slightly assured. She was not alone in this world, anyway. But she did not want this to happen. Just the thought of it was distressing enough. They arrived at Heshan County by the evening and stopped by the Zhang village first. They had told Ding Erju and his wife about buying a dozen laborers before, so the couple wasn't that surprised to see them. They had got all the daily necessities ready. Anything that was missing, they could go and fill them up the next day. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan gave them some instructions, and left the three families in Ding Erju and his wife's hands. They will drop by the next day. It was very late already, and they could not do everything on the same day. They were going to have a detailed discussion the next day, when they were going to pick the lotus roots. The coachman of the three wagons stayed overnight at the Zhang village, whilst Chu Shan drove the couple back to their village. The two wagons did not stop until they came into the yard. The 6 maids were quite nervous as they got off the wagon. Ms. Fong as well as the other family was very surprised to see them. They had been informed about the arrival of the maids and they were used to Lu Yan's presence. So the 6 maids did not startle Ms. Fong and the others too much. Soon they all calmed down. Xiao Xian led the 6 maids to kowtow to the whole family and passed on their names. It was very late, and they did not need to work at this moment. They were arranged to live in the back house, with 3 girls sharing one room. When the 6 maids were settled, everyone relaxed, especially Tao Tao and Qi, who approached Xiao Xian and smiled. Xiao Xian was also smiling happily. She had not met her family for a long time and she could not wait to share details of the trip with them. Xiao Yunduan's lips curved. He knew that his wife loved this family, and had long since developed sincere feelings towards everyone. So, he was going to do his best to keep her here. It had been a long day. After dinner and a simple wash, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan returned to their room for rest. Only then did Xiao Xian notice something strange. She and Xiao Yunduan had been sharing the same bed and pillow for a long while now. Also under the same cover, that was too flirty. They did not have much space in the past, so they had to bear the limited conditions. But things were different after shifting here. They had so many spacious yards and rooms, and even the yard they were living in had wing rooms. So, Xiao Xian could live in whichever room she wanted. No one would know that they were not sharing the same bed. Xiao Xian suddenly felt a little annoyed, especially after she was irritated today. Well, you can take the bedroom. I will move into the east wing room. Xiao Yunduan looked up at her, deep into her eyes but sensed no emotions. Xiao Xian felt slightly uncomfortable. She moved her eyes away, avoiding his look. But, Elle will take the couch. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at the couch placed against the wall. Chapter 540. Not saying the couch was not wide or long, barely enough for one person. It would definitely cause discomfort. But he did not want to sleep in a different bedroom from Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian's eyes widened. There is no need. It will do. Xiao Yunduan smiled. In case Mom finds out about it. Also, no matter where you sleep, it is the same, isn't it? Xiao Xian was stuck with words. True. They all knew that she and Xiao Yunduan were a married couple, and they could not spill the truth about their relation to anyone else. Even if they were divorced, she would still be considered to have been through one marriage, after all. So, there was no need to be too particular at this moment. Hence, they could just share one room in case some accident happened. Most importantly, Xiao Yunduan sounded so determined that she could not turn him down. But the couch doesn't seem very comfortable. Xiao Yunduan agreed inwardly. But he disagreed on the surface. That is fine. It is okay for me. Oh, if you don't feel comfortable, don't stick around. Take the east wing room. Xiao Xian had no words to say any further. She had said whatever she was supposed to say, and that was all she could do. Xiao Yunduan laughed and said gently, "It is getting late, let's settle daven." What? Okay. It was a quiet night. But when they got up the following morning, Xiao Yunduan looked very tired from sleeping on the couch. He had dark circles around the eyes, and was massaging his shoulders. Xiao Xian felt a little guilty, and said involuntarily, "What about you take the east wing room? Or I can." "No need really." Xiao Yunduan smiled brightly. "I can manage." Xiao Xian was speechless. Okay then. When they got up, the 6 maids were already up. The 6 girls were cautious and timid, at a loss. They had no idea what they should do. Seeing Ms. Fong and Yang Xiaoni working, they went up to offer some help. But they caused a mess. Ms. Fong and Yang Xiaoni felt a little helpless as well. If they were told to work, there wasn't so much for them to do anyway. And Ms. Fong did not seem to feel that stone-hearted to give them so much work, seeing that they were afraid to be driven away at the first mistake. But they were the maids, and they should work. Ms. Fong understood that maids should not be spoiled, after what they had experienced with Lu Yan. Otherwise the spoiled maids would cause the family trouble. They were different from Lu Yan. They were going to be kept at home for long. Seeing Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan walk in, Ms. Fong and her daughters-in-law let out a big relief. "Oh, Ms. Qiao, what should these 6 girls do? Please make some arrangements."
as long as they were not lingering in front of her, or they would just cause trouble.
Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged an amused look. Xiao Xian smiled.
It is my fault. Sorry for having caused you trouble. All you girls, come here. The 6 maids also let out a sigh of relief, as if they had found the decision-maker. They answered and came to them.
Xiao Xian glanced at them and felt very satisfied.
With First Madam around, the agent offered her exactly what she needed for the family.
These 6 girls were all very reliable.
Chapter 541. Fear and respect. The agent had recommended 10 people, and she picked 6 out of them.
All of them seemed like the right choice at that time. Actually, it did not matter if they were wrong choices, either.
If they found that any of the maids were like how Lu Yen was in her initial stage, when she did not do any housework, Xiao Xian would still not worry too much.
She could just sell them and find better ones. Xiao Xian had already told them what they should do. She did not need to give them any lecture. She only summoned Tao Tao and Qi, who came to her side.
Your 5th brother will be heading into town today with me and we will buy some mutton.
Let's eat mutton kebabs tonight. How does that sound? Tao Tao and Qi's eyes started sparkling.
They nodded constantly.
Yeah, okay.
There is not much chili powder and pepper powder at home. We will grind some more today.
By the way, grind some dried ginger powder, cumin, and cloves, too.
Xiao Xian smiled and said, You lead Chunyu and Chuanfen to the bamboo forest to cut bamboo, and let them chop them into kebab sticks after cutting the bamboo.
Each of them will cut 20 pieces. You take them there, tell them how to cut it, and let them do the rest. Qi and Tao Tao were a little confused.
They were fast and they could do everything flexibly. But since the 5th sister-in-law said so, then she might have a reason for it.
So they nodded. Then Xiao Xian said to the 6 maids, Heard that?
Each person cuts 20 pieces, and holds the cut ones in hands. Don't confuse them with others.
I will check them when I come back. The 6 maids nodded. Xiao Xian added,
Our family doesn't have much housework, and my mother and sister-in-law do the work by themselves on weekdays. As for you, you just need to help. In this way, 6 of you will work in 3 shifts, 2 in 1 shift, and 1 shift a day to help with the work. Those who are not on duty can go back to the house to rest or do needlework. If there is something to do, whoever is called will go.
The 6 maids nodded again. It seemed like a proper arrangement.
The 6 maids felt assured and did not think that it would be messy as before. They were not the type who wanted to serve masters or madams in high-ranking families, so that they could become excellent maids in the future. After Xiao Xian bought them, they could tell what their new mistress and master were like, after living in the province as well as experiencing the trip on the way home. They felt lucky that they had a great mistress who was neither stingy nor strict, nor throwing temper at her will, and who offered them much food and clothes generously. Most importantly, though they did not dare to peep at the encounter between Auntie Mao and Xiao as well as Xiao Yunduan, they heard everything clearly. Their mistress and master were nice and treated them well, but they were definitely not weak. So, the maids respected and admired them, and they would not cause any trouble. Even though they might have had some strange idea before, the idea was long gone.
Qi and Tao Tao led Chun Yun and the maids to chop bamboo.
After that, they were offered breakfast, before going to chop them further into pieces.
The brother and sister were drooling for the oily and tasty mutton kebabs.
With 6 more maids at home, the breakfast portion needed to increase. Xiao Xian said to Ms. Fong with a smile, Mom, if you make steamed buns, porridge and noodles at home, let them eat it.
For daily cooking, let them cook 2 dishes and 1 soup.
Fry 2 dishes but let the quantity be more than usual, and serve them in another bowl. Chapter 542. Lotus Roots. Then she told her about the work in shifts and the housework that the maid should do as well as what others should do in the meanwhile, etc. Rules needed to be set in the beginning, and people would be customized to it naturally. Although Xiao Xian did not care about rules, they needed to be set so as not to cause chaos.
Ms. Fong smiled. Okay, that sounds like a good arrangement.
It saves us a lot of trouble. You do not know how messy it was in the morning, when those 6 girls were surrounding me, wanting to get the work done.
Yang Xiaoni was quite frightened too. Yeah, I am not used to that. Qiao Xian smiled. Mom, you can tell them what needs to be done. Same goes for you, third sister-in-law. Honestly, there will be more people around us in the future. The breakfast served on this day was white rice porridge, steamed buns and flour rolls, as well as kimchi and chopped bamboo shoots, sauerkraut, bacon and chili, and fried garlic. The white porridge was fragrant and thick, the porridge rice grains were distinct and full, and the taste was smooth. The steamed buns were white and fluffy, the flour rolls were smeared with scallion foam, and the aroma was tangy. The kimchi was mouth-watering and attractive. The diced bamboo shoots, bacon and sauerkraut are stir-fried, and they were spicy and fresh to the extreme, making everything look delicious. The breakfast was simple, and full of taste as well. Qiao Xian converted an empty wing room in the backyard into a dining room for servants to eat, and set up the square table and stools. Chun Yu and the others would eat there in the future. They might not be used to cutting bamboos. So they did not wait for them to eat breakfast. They ate first, and then Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went to the Zhang village. The couple was in a donkey cart. As for Chu Shan, he left early in the morning. He needed to join people from the Zhang village and head back to the province. It could not be delayed. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan came to the Zhang village and called some people from 3 families and let them plant the lotus roots in the pond. The pond was dug years ago, but it only started storing water last month. All the trees that should be planted by the pond had already been planted. There were 2 weeping willows, 4 peach trees, 1 pomegranate tree, 1 loquat tree, 1 elm tree, 1 locust tree and 2 mulberry trees. Planting lotus roots was a rare thing. So, many people were attracted to come and watch the scene together. Lotus roots? That doesn't look very good. So what? I heard they taste good. I have seen the flowers before. They are beautiful. Can they be planted here? Planted in the pond? Yeah, didn't hear that before. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yun ignored these gossips. They watched Lin Mian and Qiao Shisan planting lotus roots by the pond, but what Qiao Xian saw were tender, green, pearl-like lotus seeds in autumn. They could be stewed in soup, cold-dressed, stir-fried, ground into powder and steamed for eating. They could also be used as sweet-scented osmanthus lotus root, or lotus root powder. That would be such a great thing. She never worried about whether they would survive. When the lotus roots were planted, water chestnuts would be available for planting as well. Water chestnuts could not be planted in the pond. They needed to be planted elsewhere. The seedling could be done first, then transplanted. Qiao Xian entrusted Ding Zhu and Ms. Zhou to deal with this matter. With lotus roots in the pond, and the water chestnuts on the way, fish and shrimps would come next. They had to fetch the small fish and shrimps themselves. They thought about getting Qi and the others to get some fish and shrimps from the river, after they reached home. Chapter 543. Plan. The fish could not be fetched with a net, because the fish carried in the net were mostly on the verge of dying, thus not being able to live on. If they passed away in the pond, pollution might be generated. So they had to use the scoop net. But there were many kinds of fish in this era, and the fish and shrimps were for themselves to eat, not to be sold. So they did not need to worry about it. The fish and shrimps, when raised in the pond, might reproduce many more after a couple of days. Qiao Xian believed that she would need to pick the good ones to be raised in the pond. When the planting of lotus roots was done, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, together with Ding Zhu, took the 3 families to have a look around their home. The transplanted tea trees were growing well, and had started to bud as well. The creeping figs were looking good too. By the time summer came, there was going to be a large patch of green. The creeping figs grew the fastest. With Qiao Xian's superpower helping along the way, the speed was raised by 3 or 4 times. Qiao Xian visited the tea trees in the morning at their home as well. She used some superpower when they first budded, so they were flourishing, and had grown tall to more than 1 foot. Qiao Xian planned to wait for 1 more rain so that she could do the transplantation. After Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan checked the tea forest and the creeping figs, they returned to the yard and told Lin Mian and the others about what they ought to do. The paddy fields did not need to be managed by them, and were planted by the tenants. They were responsible for taking care of the tea groves and scallops, including scheduling inspections every day, and reporting problems in time. They were also responsible for weeding, pruning and fertilizing. They all had some half-grown children, so they bought 6 bulls for them to manage. The 6 bulls were bought for the tenants' convenience. Moreover, bull dung was also used to fertilize rice fields. It was not good if they had none. The fields would turn too useless, as years went by, without the bulls. The tenants did not use them for free. They would rent them at a low price. A bull was calculated on the basis of 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon, and the rent was only 3 won per day. The cost was so low that it made tenants almost mental. Everyone was very willing to rent it. When all the trivialities were done, it was already lunchtime. Ms. Zhou and her mother made lunch for Xiao Yunduan and Xiao, who were very well received. It is a casual lunch, please, but the food is very clean. When the construction of the house was built, Xiao had noticed that she was a very nice, friendly, and warm, more social than Ms. Zhou. So, she hired her too by paying her 1 liang a month. In this way, she could be of some help as well. She was not restricted by too much work and could go home if she wanted to. Madame Zhou was very happy to accept the position. So, she moved in with her grandchildren. She could plant her own vegetables, raise chicken and ducks. All she needed to do was bring some grains. 1 liang a month was a lot for her. Only fools would turn down the offer. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were not picky people. So, they accepted the offer and ate lunch. There was 1 plate of scrambled eggs with chives, 1 plate of steamed sausage, and 1 plate of fried smoked meat with garlic sprouts. Simple and clean, the ingredients were good and the taste was not bad. The couple ate lunch and hurried into the town to buy meat. They had smoked meat, sausage, fish and duck, pickles, salted and preserved eggs at home. All they needed was fresh meat. Xiao Xian was greedy for mutton kebabs. So was everyone else. They decided to have a huge dinner that night. They bought 10 kilograms of mutton with both fat and normal meat, 2 sheep's feet, 4 pig's feet, a rib, and a piece of pork belly. The pork belly would be made into twice-cooked pork and braised pork the next day, and the rest would be marinated tonight itself. Chapter 544. Encounter with agent. They bought fresh meat and decided to head home. There was nothing more they needed for the moment. Soon, they ran into the land agent, coincidentally. The land agent's eyes widened when he saw the couple. He waved at them and smiled. Young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, what a coincidence. I was just thinking of you. I have got 70 mu of paddy field at the Zhang village. Do you want it? If you do, please decide now. Or I will turn to someone else. Xiao Xian exchanged a look with Xiao Yunduan. They both nodded. Yes, yes. 70 mu or even more, we want it all. Continuous good fields were not very easy to buy, especially in the well-developed towns and villages. Well, if one really wanted to buy some, they would need to pay a lot for that. It was a possibility, but not a very practical solution. Xiao Xian believed that it was indeed very lucky for this land to be offered at this moment. What a wonderful thing. Xiao Yunduan thought for a while and smiled. The paddy field should be all right, no? We have done a lot of business together before. The land agent smiled. Don't worry. I won't dare to sell any fields with problems. I need my reputation, don't I? I will never do anything to ruin my own name. That was true. They passed on the business over generations, and needed to have a good steady reputation over a long period of time. If they did anything that ruined their reputation and got reported, the county magistrate had the right to rip them off the position and replace them with someone else. Anyone with a clever mind or in a good position would never do such a thing to ruin their well-established business. Assured, Xiao Xian added. But I don't have much money with me today. The land agent smiled. All right, how much do you have? The couple exchanged a look between themselves and pulled out the cash. This much. Xiao Yunduan touched his nose. I have nothing. He just had 1 liang with him, which was basically the same as nothing. The land agent smiled. Then you can give me 200 liang and write an IOU. You can give the remaining silver to me tomorrow, okay? The couple nodded. Soon, they were taken to have a look at the field, and signed the contract after the visit. Xiao Xian smiled. We have 310 mu of paddy fields, We are almost like a landlord family now. Xiao Yunduan nodded in agreement. It was almost 4 in the afternoon when they went back home. Qiao Xian took a short break and went to prepare for the dinner. Qiao Xian was in charge of cooking, with a lot of people helping along the way. So, everything was ready very quickly. Xiao Sanlang burned the fire to wash the meat, put it in a pot with marinade and stewed it. Yang Xiaoni chopped the mutton finely. Ms. Zu's stomach was not too big, so she went to the vegetable garden to pick some vegetables. They were going to eat grilled meat with some vegetables to avoid it from getting too oily. Qiao Xian thought about it, and made 1 bowl of fishball soup. There were fresh large grass carp in the pool, 2 of which weighed 4 kilograms and 4 to 5 kilograms respectively. The fish bones were stewed in soup. The fish heads were made with pickled sour peppers. The round snow-white fish balls were boiled in a clear water pot, sprinkled with green onion and coriander. It turned out to be delicious. They were going to eat grilled meat, drink a bowl of fishball soup each and eat some fish balls. Everything was made out of fresh ingredients. Qi went to catch and kill fish, removed the bones and took the meat. Qiao Xian checked the bamboo sticks which the maids had made. She understood what she should do next. She needed some careful people to help her with lipsticks. Not every maid was like that. She needed to pick the best one, and that's why this task had been given to them this morning. Chapter 545. Time to make lipsticks. She had a clear preference of whom to pick. She was going to make the leader manage the rest. When the bamboo sticks were done, Qiao Xian asked Chunyu, Chuanfin, who were on duty, to join herself and Tao Tao to plant betel nut taro and spring watermelons. She gave the seeds to her mother-in-law so that she knew when to plant them. She kept 1 betel nut taro and sliced them into pieces so they could be deep-fried and steamed later, which went perfect with braised pork belly. She kept 2 spring watermelons which could be used for cold dishes at dinner. Qiao Xian cut the mutton and made the seasonings, which were better than those done by others. They had the meat marinated for 2 more quarters, and had them all put onto the sticks. Generally, there was a small piece of fat sandwiched between 2 pieces of lean meat, which was suet. Roasted lamb could not be all lean, it had to be sandwiched with small pieces of lamb fat. The lamb fat was roasted so that the oil was browned, sprinkled with pepper, salt and pepper noodles, and when it was bitten together with the lamb and the lean meat, the freshness and the tenderness of the sheep oil melted in the mouth. It was so delicious that people could not extricate themselves from the enjoyment. Along with the mutton, other vegetables and mushrooms were also skewered. The fish balls that Qiao Xian had squeezed fell into the water one by one. They could just boil them whenever they felt like eating some. When the sun was setting down, they set up the grill shelf and Qiao Xian asked Tao Tao to invite Ms. Yen over so they could all eat together. Ms. Yen often ate at the first section of the family, and Ms. Niu did not care anymore. She wished that she could eat often at the first section of the family so the food at home could be spared. On Ms. Yan's visit there, she kept Ms. Su company and taught Tao Tao to do needlework. She always had the excuse to come over. So, she was never there for food specifically. Ms. Zhang felt so jealous of her, but there was nothing she could do. She was not the one who was welcomed there. The maids were not with them for the kebab. But they were served enough food. Ms. Fong, eldest uncle, Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Dalong as well as Ms. Su all needed to eat something else. Grilled meat was not enough. There was a bowl of stewed pork ribs, fish head with chopped pepper, fish ball soup with coriander and green onion, fried yam and fungus, vinegared cabbage. The maids had 1 large rib bone and 2 fish balls, vinegared cabbage as well as yams and wooden ears. They were so shocked when they got the food. The well-cooked and delicious stewed ribs and the fresh and tender fish balls gave them endless aftertaste. They had not expected that they would be provided such good food in the countryside. The grilled mutton was tasty and tender, fresh too. The mushrooms and vegetables had amazing taste. The fishball soup removed the oiliness from their mouths. The apricot blossoms in the flower field were blooming just in time, and the peach blossoms were also almost ready to open. The trees were full of dense buds. It was time for them to make lipsticks. There were not many peach and apricot blossoms, and the beeswax left was not enough from last year. So, they would only manage to make at most 200 to 300 lipsticks, including the limited version. That was enough for the maids to learn. Xiao Xian did not go into the city to pay the rest of the money to the land agent. She discussed it with Xiao Yunduan and they gave the money to Qi, so he could go into the town to do the needful. Qi was very happy to be entrusted with such an important mission.
He carefully folded the note into his arms and promised in a serious tone that the money would be given to the land agent safe and sound.
Xiao Xian showed a lot of confidence in him, which made him happy. Qi was not young anymore. This was just delivery of money, not such a difficult task to accomplish. Chapter 546. Watch out if the notes were stolen or dropped, it was fine too. They had more money to offer. Xiao Yunduan was studying at home. He had 2 articles to write and in 3 days. He was going to visit Master Yn. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao, as well as Yang Xiaoni, went into the flower field with the 6 maids. They were going to extract some oil. They had been relaxed during the whole winter and were only working on cooking different dishes. So when it was time to work, Tao Tao and Yang Xiaoni felt somehow expectant and excited. They loved delicious food, but they loved making lipsticks to earn some money. They felt so eager to earn the money. So did Ms. Su. She could not help but mention it to Xiao Xian. It is just flower picking and grinding. These are just light tasks. We are not some spoiled town women. When I was pregnant with my first 2 children, I was still doing housework when I was almost about to give birth to them. 30 won a day was the salary from the generous Xiao Xian, who would also offer them a bonus after the sale. In this way, they could earn 10 or 20 liang altogether. Now her husband was recovering from the wound, and he could not do heavy work. She was free but there was no income coming to their family. So, she was very anxious. In Xiao Xian's opinion, pregnant women needed to be taken care of very well. They had money and laborers at home, and all Ms. Su needed to do was sweep the flowers, feed the roosters and wash her own family's clothes. She did not need to do any other tasks. That was what Ms. Fong told her too. After all, their daily life had been improved. So, Xiao Xian could not possibly allow her to work in the flower field. What if she fell or something happened? That would be a huge deal. Xiao Xian also knew that Ms. Su wanted to earn money.
So, she did not turn her down entirely but smiled after thinking for a while.
Elder sister-in-law, I have got the maids. Now what we need to do is to make sure that they work accordingly. We don't need to do the labor personally. After you have the child and finish the first month, there is a lot of work for you to do. If you are bored, could you please make some shoes for me? Shoemaking was a relatively easier and safer job. What Ms. Su was worried about, above all, that Xiao Xian would replace her with someone else. So when she heard this promise, she smiled and nodded with a smile. That is good. 5th sister-in-law, you can ask me for any kind of help in the future. I have very little work to do, so I will make you the shoes when I am free. Xiao Xian smiled.
Thanks, elder sister-in-law.
Ms. Su started to work on the shoes, without thinking about anything else. Xiao Xian was a very generous person. She would not let her do the work for free. What she needed to do was to make the shoes. When Ms. Su was settled, Xiao Xian and Tao Tao headed to the flower field with the maids. Before they walked into the field, Xiao Xian warned the 6 maids not to mention anything about what they saw in the flower field to anyone. They were not even allowed to speak of it while casually chit-chatting with anyone, or they would be fined half a month's salary. Worse, they could even be fired if they spilled anything. The maids got very nervous. They put on a serious look and nodded constantly. When they went into the flower field, they were all shocked. What caught the eye most was the rows of shrubs as high as half a person, with a wooden frame for climbing and standing in the middle, and bushes with buds on both sides of the wooden frame. Chapter 547. This? Apart from these, there were also rhizomes of unknown plants that were less than a foot high, and took up a large area in the field. There were trees in the distance, some had grown leaves, some had yet to sprout. There was also a patch of faint crimson, which should be sporadic peach blossoms and flower buds that could not be opened. The patch of pink color was apricot flowers. The maids were shocked. What? Mrs. Xiao told them not to reveal anything about this? Xiao Xian did not care what they were thinking. She led them into the middle of the land, where there were rooms on the left and right with the front and back being transparent. When they took out the key to open the door, Tao Tao and Xianxia cheered up. They went to fetch the baskets proficiently. The two of them had ventilated and cleaned the room yesterday. As long as there are raw materials, Xiao Xian could start making lipstick immediately. The two of them waved at Xiao Xian and went to pick flowers with the maids. Xiao Xian was walking around, checking the flowers. She poured her superpower into the flowers so they could grow better and blossom more in a wilder color. There were many deserted lands in the neighboring area. With 6 more people added to the labor, they could expand the harvested land and plant more flowers. All of these would be under her charge. Xiao Xian felt very pleased. Working with flowers, surrounded by them, was indeed a very pleasant experience. In addition to the main colors of Chinese roses and ordinary roses, there could be more like peach, apricot, and plum flowers. Other types could also be added, such as cannas, Chinese trumpet vine, safflowers, chrysanthemums, and so on. By mixing various colors in different proportions, they could get richer colors and produce lipsticks in more shades. Apart from flowers, they could also try extracting colors from other objects that were not toxic, which could be applied to the lips. Her space had a lot of area and they could definitely be stored. Maybe she could even have reclaimed land for planting. That would make everything much easier. Tao Tao and Xiaoxiaoni told the maids to be careful when picking the flowers, so that the petals would not be destroyed, and the flowers could be maintained in the original way. They would pick the flowers in full blossom and half blossoms, so the two flowers would not be mixed up. They needed to work fast, because the flowers had to be cleaned and the petals should be carefully handled. That was a painstaking task. The peach blossoms and apricot blossoms were not as big as roses. The petals were thick and easy to remove. This was the first time for Tao Tao and Xiaoxiaoni to deal with such small flowers. But the peach blossoms were delicate and the apricot blossoms were enchanting. They were both very beautiful colors. They must look good when made into lipsticks. The women really looked forward to the result. The maids nodded and started to pick the flowers. Xianxia could not help but approach Tao Tao, asking curiously, "Miss, what are we picking these flowers for? Can you tell us about it? We can be more assured if we know what they are going to be used for." Since Mrs. Xiao took them into the flower field, she had not planned to conceal the secret from them. That was why Xianxia dared to ask. Upon hearing the question, everyone pricked up their ears. They stopped whatever they were doing and looked at her. They would know about it sooner or later. Hence, there was no need to conceal it from them. Tao Tao smiled. These flowers are very precious. They are used to make lipsticks. You're tuning in to the Wisdom Diary YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.